simple. Drop a rock into the water, watch it ripple. Tides turn quick, just keep your head on a swivel. Competition getting stiff, I'm here to make you wiggle. You know me, surround your whole town, make you yell siege. All-star, homie, this the king's speech. You can lock it down, we gon' still preach. Boy, preach. Who's next in line? Can you make that climb? Now is the time, get out of your mind. Raise up the lights, we all here tonight, so let's do it right. Yo, we came here to fight. Who's next in line? Can you make that climb? Now is the time, this world is mine. Raise up the lights, we all here tonight, so let's do it right. Yo, we came here to fight. Boy, you already know I'm the real wonder. Boy, I bring the storm, you gonna feel thunder. So your body count is up there with killmongers. How about you come take a look at some real numbers? Might just double up on you while I still slumber. I'm the living proof, I'm just coming through for the thrill of it. Room full of all-stars, we all guys. Somebody gotta be Zeus, I'll take charge. Who's next in line? Can you make that climb? Now is the time, get out of your mind. Raise up the lights, we all here tonight, so let's do it right. Yo, we came here to fight. Who's next in line? Can you make that climb? Now is the time, this world is mine. Raise up the lights, we all here tonight, so let's do it right. Yo, we came here to fight. Positive, negative, I'll take charge and shake eyes, remain great while I pay homage. They always said that pressure can make diamonds, so keep climbing all the way up, that's where you'll find me. Right next to the legends, I go off my brethren, said goodbye to the old me. I'ma make sure that you know me. After this here, you gon' owe me. Didn't choose a game, it chose me. You know what G-O means to an OG, let's go. Fight, who's next in line? Can you make that climb? Now is the time, get out of your mind. Raise up the lights, we all here tonight, so let's do it right. Yo, we came here to fight. Who's next in line? Can you make that climb? Now is the time, this world is mine. Raise up the lights, we all here tonight, so let's do it right. Yo, we came here to fight. Who's next in line? Can you make that climb? Now is the time, get out of your mind. Raise up the lights, we all here tonight, so let's do it right. Yo, we came here to fight. Who's next in line? Can you make that climb? Now is the time, this world is mine. Raise up the lights.
G'day everybody, welcome back to week 2 of the VCS English coverage of the VCS Summer 2020. My name is Everyday, with me is Yulwei, and there's a lot of teams to talk about tonight. Let's start off with a certain team called Percent.
Did someone
There
say
we go.
percent?
I think some
Did
of
Yeah.
someone say percent?
I
Did someone
think
say
so.
glory? Because glory, oh boy, glory. This boy, my boy Glory, he is set to be the best mid laner in this league already. He's brand new. He is on track. He 1v9'd his way into this league. He 1v9'd their very first game on stage against Flash, and he has been killing it. He has a 93% kill participation. He is first in KDA already. I know it's 2 games, but shush.
That doesn't matter.
He has a high CSPM. His team's not giving him a huge amount of gold. He's only 4th in gold share amongst mid laners. That means there are 3 teams that are putting more gold into the mid laner and not getting as much out of them as percenters. This man's going to be a beast. Step aside, Levi. This is your new star, boys.
He definitely was a beast in week 1. I like to
So,
say.
just to, obviously, as we did mention Percent, we summoned our third member. We do have Vinnie joining us on the desk. He couldn't be here in week 1, but of course is now here, has completed his uni obligation. So now he can do what really matters, which is talk about Vietnamese League of Legends with us. We're glad to have you here. So let's actually crack on a little bit. Glory is obviously the best mid laner in the league now. But let's do a few more overreactions. Me and Yulwei talked about our overreactions to week 1 on the Everyway podcast, but we'll reiterate them. And of course, Vinnie wasn't there. So, Yulwei, I overreact to week 1.
So, overreaction number 1, EVOS and Flash are bad. Not just in week 1, but they are actually not going to make playoffs.
Okay, that is definitely an overreaction.
Yeah, overreaction. Zeros is washed. Just kick him out. He's gone.
You're stealing my overreaction. You're stealing mine.
All right, there you go. Clearly,
my overreaction.
it's not an overreaction. Clearly, it's fact.
My overreaction is that
Recently
𝗲𝘃𝗏 is washed. Yeah.
Yeah.
𝗲𝘃𝗏 is washed. He's not a good top laner. He's going to get bopped by everyone in the league. Stark is going to run him over.
Oh no.
Oh, no.
He's not helping. He's not helping 𝗲𝘃𝗏. Bring back TH. That's my overreaction. But Vinny, you weren't on the podcast, so we need to hear your overreaction.
I need a brand new one. All right, well here it is. I guess Flash's Dunzo. Pallet, he's clearly worthless. He couldn't win on GAM. He looks terrible on Flash. Pallet's done. Flash is done. They lost CBL. They're not sure what they're doing with their mid lane and jungle. Flash is Dunzo. Relegated.
𝗲𝘃𝗏 is not Dunzo? Because that's very similar to my take, right?
𝗲𝘃𝗏 is Dunzo, but Flash relegated.
Oh, wow.
That's your overreaction for the
That certainly is an overreaction too. You're going even further than I do.
Oh yeah.
Not just players, they are just straight out of the league. When the players like Slater in the lineup. Fair enough.
Yeah. Sure.
Slater's not glory. He can't 1v9. He can't 1v9 promos.
Okay, so moving on, let's bring it back a little bit to the realm of seriousness. Week 1, that was a very interesting week. Games did not go the way anyone thought they would. It was a massacre on the predictions, which we'll come to later. We don't need to show the predictions at the moment. What were your impressions of week 1, Vinny? Obviously, you weren't on the broadcast, so I want to get your mind on it. What did you think of the VCS's level? Where do you think the upsets were coming from?
So the VCS, so obviously nothing went as we sort of expected in preseason, and clearly we're seeing lack of cohesion and synergy in a lot of the teams we thought were going to do well on paper because out of purely roster moves, and we're seeing synergy come through. Like Cerberus didn't really make a change, but they didn't make a change. And look at them, they're really good. They've got some of the best macro I've seen in the VCS so far.
I agree.
And they're doing really well. GAM, same sort of thing. They had that one game where they kind of got rolled over by EVOS, but overall they look more cohesive as a unit than some of the other teams, and that's because most of the lineups played together for at least since the Pulsefire Cup and before. So they've had Slay and Easy Love the whole time last split, just on the bench. So the players all know each other. So it's
What
really...
would you say about the level of gameplay? Because we had a discussion about this in podcast, and I was more on the positive side of things, and everybody was quite negative when it came to gameplay. So where do you land? Do you feel like week 1 was a good showing for the VCS overall, or are you disappointed?
I think overall it wasn't a great week, but the parts of it that were good show the signs that by the end of the split it'll be good. I reckon, because cohesion issues. I reckon it's these cohesion issues, and the teams that are cohesive are showing better macro than they have in the past. So that means, and raw talent was never the issue for the VCS. So by the end of the split, maybe we can actually properly take the fight to like the PCS even, and not have to tilt the opposing team with
if we're taking the fight to the PCS, we've already beaten NA.
Well, I just wanted to clarify what it meant. I feel like we are now at a stage where the bottom tier teams are good enough individually that they don't get rolled by uncoordinated, better individual teams, which is a very good sign. So because 2 seasons ago, even a good, well-coordinated bottom tier team would still lose to the star players on not so well-coordinated, stronger team, which seems to not be the case anymore. Cerberus just stomped everyone, even though their players might be a little bit worse. And even Percent and OPG won their first series, even though they just freshly promoted into the league. So I feel like that is a very good sign. But of course, some cohesiveness issues were definitely on display last week.
Yeah, I mean, there's 2 sides to that coin, right? is that, the lower echelon of teams were definitely showing great coordination and they have the individual skill. But you'd hope that the top teams aren't uncoordinated, right? They shouldn't be running around like a pack of monkeys. They should be a team. So it really depends which way you look at it. There are definitely bright spots. Cerberus is my baby boy. I love this team now. I'm a full-on Cerberus stan because they played a 1-3-1 comp in the VCS and actually executed it. What? But unless you've got anything more to say on week 1, we can crack on and move to week 2 and start talking about our first series of the night.
Do we want to start with the first series or just take a look at the predictions for the whole week? Because I think we have them lined up as well.
That's a good idea. Let's move to predictions.
So this week might be a little bit easier to predict, but of course we're still very early on, so anything can happen still, and we have some very different predictions. Not so much for day 1. Actually interested to see SGB 2-0 from Nami's side, and I can see why. SGB actually didn't play as badly as their record shows. I went back and rewatched their games, and they were very close to winning that one. Team Secret against OPG. 2 O's for Team Secret all around.
Excuse me?
Yeah.
2 O's all around?
Yeah, sorry. No, you have OPG winning.
I did.
I don't remember putting 2-0 Team Secret. Whatever.
I think
This
you did. Our production team would never lie.
Of course not. This, I think, is one of the most interesting series looking ahead, because if Team Secret comes back and wins this one, fair enough, they are back in the mix. If they lose against OPG too, this could be a rough split for Team Secret. And then Sunday is the day of the fallen teams. Flash and EVOS will play on Sunday again against Cerberus, who looked incredible, and 𝗀𝗏𝗏𝗄𝐴, who might bounce back today. So if Flash and EVOS fall again on Sunday, it's really looking not so great for them.
Yeah, I mean, I might change my predictions depending on how the Buffalo look against %. If they get blown out by %, I'm going to switch that one over, no question. The Sunday predictions are a ways away. But let's look at... I was annoyed because we all agree on today's. I was hoping we had a dissenter, but we don't. We all agree that GAM and % are going to win.
That we do. But I feel like the second series will actually be closer than it looks on paper.
Yeah.
That's why I have 2-1. I actually think 𝗀𝗏𝗏𝗏 was a little unlucky and a little bit over-eager in the first series, and they could have won easily against OPG. The first game was a stomp. The third game, they had 2 opportunities to finish the game and overextended. They had Baron Buff and Elder Dragon on their side and just overdived the Nexus turrets and lost the game at that point. So they were very close to winning that series. So I actually feel like 𝗀𝗏𝗏𝗏 has a very good shot against %, especially in the early game where % is still looking a little bit questionable.
Yeah, so we can...
definitely not
Sorry,
that
go
bad.
ahead.
They're definitely not that bad a team. Anyway, as I mentioned, they were kind of unlucky in that sort of push towards the end, and they made some weird map decisions, which OPG took good advantage of. But overall, yeah, they're fine.
Yeah, that's fair. So I know the Buffalo is a really interesting topic, but they are in our second series tonight. So let's talk about our first series, which is GAM taking on OPG. OPG, the new kids on the block, who came in with a bang. Absolutely with a bang. How do we think this one's going to go? And we'll start off by talking about the strengths and the weaknesses of OPG. Yulwei, Vinnie, do you want to give us a rundown?
Yeah, I'll start with OPG. So for OPG, they are a little bit of a strange team, but looking back at their 3-game series against 𝗀𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏, the strength I saw was very much about TP coordination. They outplayed 𝗀𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏 again and again and again with better TP timing. So that definitely was a very nice sign for a new team. They had some good pre-planned moves in the jungle where they set up their jungler for success. They once they were ahead and knew what to play for, they were very assertive and committed to their plays, sometimes even a little bit too much. So that also can be a weakness, but it's nice to see in a new team. And they had a very, very clear plan when it came to drafting. They went back-to-back single target CC comps. They had Zoe, Leeson, Bard, I think, Ash. So a lot of CC, a lot of pick potential, and they played those comps very nicely. So they definitely knew what to come in with in terms of draft. And they seem to be very untiltable. That's as far as the strength go. Do you want to cover the weaknesses, Winnie?
Yeah, I mean, the weaknesses for them are, well, PHT is quite a volatile mid laner. He's very aggressive. He pushes his limits.
I hate this term volatile compared for him. He is inconsistent.
Well, I mean, that's fair, but the idea is he pushes himself and he tries to make these plays, and sometimes, and it's about to go, right? It can blow up.
Yeah.
It's inconsistent. He's inconsistent, sure, but that's because he's playing a very aggressive and volatile matchup. We see some weaknesses in just team fighting and mechanical mistakes from players. We're seeing like Vin, he's not quite got his wave management down properly.
Really not.
Which is, I mean, he can improve on that. We've seen it before from other players.
Yeah.
They're willing to sort of push themselves too hard in certain positions, and it's not. And then not, and I don't really know how to.
They're not super
phrase it, but,
disciplined.
They're not very disciplined. But I do want to bring this up sort of now. Coming over, we did really underestimate this team, I think, with hindsight, because the core of this team is still VGA. Right? Is VGA, but now they have an actual jungler.
Yeah, that's a fair point.
Whereas last split, they spent most of it with a role swap and their coach playing jungle. So
that's a very good
had
point.
to sort of try and figure that out.
Yeah, I think in particular, Xin is a fantastic player. I think we have some stats for him. He's in the conversation for best support in the league. Now that CBL and stuff are slumping, he's in the conversation. I don't think he's quite there yet. I think B had a better week one. But this guy is very good. You can see that 7.33 KDA. He's got the 2st in the league. Thanks, production. No, 2nd highest in the league. Don't flame our production team too hard. They do a good job. 86.3% KPAR, 245 gold a minute, which is great for a support. 13.9% gold share, which is first amongst supports. Very high gold share.
Yeah,
that's ridiculously high. His Bard was absolutely smurfing on people.
Oh yeah, it was so.
You got to worry about this guy. He's been to Worlds.
Yeah. Ever since he world swapped, he just impressed us. I think back to last split where he had the dancing shoes moment where he just dodged every single skill shot on Braum against Syndra and made her look silly, even though he still died to the auto attacks, but it was incredible. So he definitely has the mechanics, and his Bard, I want to see more Bard. I feel like Bard fits their compositions super well. It's a single target CC. He can carry the team fights, and he has a strong laning phase. They actually punished 𝗀𝗏𝗏𝗄 in the laning phase early on with Bard, very hard. So I want to see more Xin Bard, and I'm excited to follow this player.
Yeah, absolutely.
You definitely saw you saw his impact from week one. Going back week one, he started going in support because VGA again we're sort of on an upswing when Xin joined. That was without a jungler. Again, now they have a jungler. Do we want to bring him up?
Speaking of the jungler, DK impressed us, I've got to say. In week one, he looked a lot better than expected. We see his stats here. Not quite as blowing us away as Xin was in terms of the share, but he definitely he did his job very, very well.
Yeah, his stats are not really that interesting to look at. If you look at the numbers, they're just middle of the pack, right? Kill participation is quite high. Kill share is actually very low for Leeson. But he was he had one game, I think it was the third game, where he actually started 0-5-11. He is really the facilitating and set up 𝗀𝘃𝗏, and they needed 𝗀𝘃𝗏 in their composition to have even more single targets 𝗔𝘂. So it's actually not that much about dominating the early game, looking for plays and early skirmishes with 𝗀𝘃𝗏. It was more, we need even more pick potential, even more displacement. That's where the 𝗀𝘃𝗏 came in very handy, and he actually played kind of a supportive 𝗀𝘃𝗏, which is interesting. It's a little bit of a different touch.
Yeah, for sure. But let's crack quickly on to their opponents. Let's talk about GAM, the eternal tyrants of the VCS. Where are we looking here? This GAM, they were weird last week. They were very, very weird.
We really can't understand GAM yet. As we can see, these stats are absolutely incredible and very strange. First game, 18-0-13. They didn't give up a single kill. Second game, they got stomped, hard stomped. Was even quicker than the first game, 1 minute quicker on the side of 𝗎𝗏𝗏. 𝗎𝗏𝗏 absolutely wiped the floor with them. Minus 8,694 gold at 15, which is even 200 more of a deficit than they had in game one as on their side, 8,400. So unbelievably volatile in that aspect. But then game three was a little bit more on the normal side, still 2.5k gold up. So we don't really know what to make of GAM. I'd say they are still very, very strong in the early game, but they can also misplay and then just hand over one game, maybe even two games to a weaker team. So I think we just need to see more footage at this point.
I mean, I think it comes back to what we were saying about how teams are not getting blown out just by individual skill anymore. Because when GAM executes their early game, they look like the best team in the league. They look like the best team in the league.
So incredible.
They are a well-oiled machine, but last split, when it kind of went a little bit wrong in the early game, they were able to lean on how good 𝗄𝗏 was, how good Yulwei is, how good 𝗂𝗃𝗏 is. They were able to lean on that and still win. I don't think that's going to work as much this split. They actually need to execute that early game, and if they don't draft a comp to execute the early game, don't go for the early game plays, lads. Just chill.
Yeah. And GAM in that last series looked pretty prototypical VCS in that they sort of brute force everything. And when they got that first lead, they were able to brute force and just steamroll. And then when they got behind, they tried to brute force and got steamroll.
Yeah, indeed.
And it didn't. And you were saying last split they
Feast of famine
tried to last split they tried to fall back on mechanical skill, and that wasn't going to work against 𝗎𝗏𝗏. They've got 𝗧𝗏, they've got 𝗧𝗏𝗏𝗏, they've got really good players. They've got players that pretty much pound for pound, they're about on pure mechanics about the same.
Yeah.
In way too differently, sure, but about the same overall. So you can't just rely on that player strength anymore.
Skill diff isn't.
Unfortunately, today they might still be able to rely on player strength because they are playing against OPG. I feel like this is definitely GAM focused. We all predicted GAM to win, so it's on OPG to surprise us today and show us that they are here to stay in the top half of the team.
And if they win this, that is a massive statement. Week one. Yeah. I didn't want to seriously overreact. It's just week one. We have to see how things shape up. But if they can beat GAM, they are serious contenders, and Optimus might have brought some very serious boys to the block. But with that, we will just be taking a little bit of a break. We will be back to get into the game, get into Champ Select to see who will come out on top. Thanks for joining us, everyone, here on VCS English. Do follow the stream, all that good stuff. And we'll see you in just a little bit.
Awake to my voice and hear the call within. Embrace the fear inside. Surrender your mind to mine again. Awake to my voice and hear the call within. Embrace the fear inside. Surrender your mind to mine again. Close your eyes, have faith in me, and leave the light.
Nobody ever cares enough. Nothing ever ends in love. Your eyes have dried, have you lost your mind? Life has never been so tough. Your stomach always tied in knots. Your memory is all you've got. You hate this place, you could run away. You know you won't get caught. It's all in your hands, don't let it slip. You're way too close to let yourself quit. When it hurts to stand, when it hurts to grip, when it hurts to lift. You're gonna make it out. You're gonna make it out. know it's hard to see, but just breathe. It's almost over. Don't stop now. I know it hurts to bleed. Just breathe. You're gonna make it out.
Welcome back, everybody. We do now have Champ Select. The bans are in. 𝗀𝗲, Renekton, Wukong, removed by OPG. GAM has taken out Aphelios, Varus, and Syndra, and OPG respond with the insta-lock Karma.
I don't like that.
Another Karma priority. We have actually seen a lot of Karma priority in the first week, so makes a little bit of sense. I'm scared because now Graves is going to come in because everyone loves Karma Graves. And then we have Graves against Ezreal, which is not the greatest matchup. So Overpower already looking at a little bit of a difficult matchup, in my opinion, or a draft.
This feels very like a very bad sort of. It's not a good first pick, definitely not. You can of course flex it. We haven't seen that, but you can flex it to a support, which can help give you some sort of laning presence back against something like an Ezreal Thresh. We could also see it top, honestly.
Yeah.
It's possible.
It's possible.
But
I think
it's
every
most
single top
likely
Karma has
mid.
lost so far.
Probably. But, I mean, it's most likely mid, and, oh. Are we
Yes.
going to see Zyra?
Oh, yes.
Yes, we are. Alright.
Zyra, the lovers
Zyra
duo
Khan,
is
though.
in. I think they just want to go the lovers lane. Zin was
So-
always a pretty good Rakan, so...
So
Rakan
with-
into Thresh is horrible to play. It's
That's
really
true.
bad.
So,
I just want
I
to
would
point
say
out...
the buffs on 10-13 have given them the
Yeah.
confidence to play it.
Yeah, the
I don't
buffs
know.
are
But
negligible.
But they're not on the patch
Unfortunately-
they're playing.
yeah, I was about to say, unfortunately, they're on 10-12. So,
It's very
one thing I want to
surprising.
point out here is that I understand that OPG's comp Very interesting. We want to talk about it. But GAM is getting everything they want.
Yeah.
They are not. These teams are not drafting against each other. They are doing a simulation draft by themselves.
It's true. It's a
Yeah,
very good point.
With the pivot to the pace, to the Jace,
Hey.
I actually fully understand the Thresh lock-in over something like Uyumi, because this gives you that extra bit of disengage and peak potential if you need it, rather than just more and more poke added on. If
I also
they,
actually think Thresh fits poke compositions very nicely, aggressively and defensively, where if Jace and Ezreal are able to land good poke, Thresh can look for the follow-up grab or the follow-up play and lock down the kill. And the other way around works too, where Ezreal and Jace overextend to get poke in, then find themselves in a peculiar situation, and then Thresh helps them out with a little bit of a lantern, right? So actually like Thresh a lot here to facilitate the two pokers. Would like to see even more poke here for GAM. I feel like Nidalee, I know you don't. Nidalee's banned, but some more
So
poke,
is great.
or maybe. So
that is not what I would hope for, but
It's
What's
another
locked
release.
in there?
that's what's locked in. Gragas is also banned, so you can't go for that sort of.
They need.
Oh.
They did need a bit of AP.
yeah, AP
which
generally
they
makes
have
sense.
today.
I would have liked Talia or Fiddlesticks though. I
I
feel
would
like
have liked
those
a
two are better.
Shyvana.
Ah, fair.
I would have liked a
Shyvana is good
Shyvana.
point.
Fully commit to the poke.
Actually like that call a lot.
but-
I think he has a little bit of bad memories of Shyvana though, from the finals.
Also, I think this might become a top. I think PhD's just locked in Lucian.
Another ADC for PhD.
Yeah.
He never stops.
Sounds about
He doesn't
right.
stop. He doesn't learn. Let's see what they
Keep
round their comp out with. Trundle makes sense.
He should just roll swap to ADC, honestly. He's only playing ADCs anyway. Just roll swap to ADC, dude.
Trundle's and the Trundle into Elise matchup's fine. You're sort of about the same sort of power early on in early skirmishes, and Elise can
And-
escape you your pillar, but has to be
Top
next
lane Pantheon.
No, it's top lane. Jace.
top Jace.
I feel like
It's
it's top lane
tier one.
Pantheon, honestly. Kiaya played a lot of top lane Pantheon as well. And Dia 1 piloted Jace last week. I feel like this will be top lane Pantheon.
Yeah, it looks that way at the
I
moment.
mean, neither matchup is particularly great for Pantheon.
The Pantheon.
But
yeah.
I would have thought you'd rather take it into Lucian for that little bit extra kill potential.
I feel like the long lane actually gives you a little bit of kill potential on the Karma, if Karma ever misplays. And we saw Win overextend in lane last week against Husmit over and over again. So his wave management was a big question mark coming into this series. I feel like this has less to do with actual champion matchup and more to do with where they see weaknesses in terms of players, yeah.
Yeah,
I like this call. I actually feel like more early game is an interesting call for GAM, and they've so far have shown a lot of early game strength. So
The only downside with locking in that Pantheon I see is, yeah, you have that Elise, and Elise is AP, sure, but she's not much AP. I guess she's mostly there as a sort of execute after the Ezreal and Jace pokers comes out, but yeah, I still think just keep picking up a Shyvana or even a Karthus or something would have been a lot better.
more carry damage. Yeah, I agree.
More
But on the other
consistent
side-
AP damage than
If you look at Overpower, they almost have no tanky stats, right? Even Trundle can't steal much from anyone on the side of GAM, so I feel like not having that much AP damage, and you also have to take into consideration Ezreal's like 40% AP damage as well, will kind of work even in the later stages. Mountain Soul would actually help OPG big time, especially for the Trundle. Trundle would be unkillable with a Mountain Soul here, so it's first Drake
Unfortunately,
Mountain, so
first straight.
yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
So we are heading on to the Rift. So Vinny, give us your final couple of words. Make it snappy, and then we'll get into our actual cast.
Overall, I think I actually like Overpower's comp a little bit better. I think it has a lot more potential, but I think GAM's going to play their comp a lot better.
All right, we need to talk about what snappy means, but that's all right. We take it. Thank you, Vinny. We'll see you again after the game. Let's get into the Rift let's get into the actual game. Yulwei, talk to me about win conditions. It's something we've wanted to focus on. What are the win conditions for these teams?
Mid lane win game for GAM, for sure, especially top side. Bot side, of course, is Asriel, so they can chill to a certain extent. But stomp the top lane with a Pantheon and bring that lead into mid lane to let Dia1 snowball and be your main carry. I feel like is the most important part here. They don't want to have the game go too late, so that's early game focus for GAM. On the other side, OPG is a little bit harder to read. They have some late game options, but from behind their comp is not easy to play either, so I feel like they want to play a close early game and then group up for early objectives with a very strong Karma shield, double ADC Karma, Ardent Sensor into very strong double ADC based team fighting. That's what they want to do. So those are the most obvious win conditions. I feel like OPG has drafted themselves into a little bit of a strange one though, because they don't really have clear battle lines. They need to kite a lot in their composition.
Yeah, the Lucian. It's PHT. I know he loves playing ADCs. It doesn't really make a lot of sense to me in this comp. I feel like a mage would have actually gone a long way, like an Orianna or something, would have really helped them out. Good trade down the bot side.
Was there a lot of aggressive pings coming into the top side of GAM's jungle? They definitely know where Levi's at. Also, like the very early ward placed from PHT. So to spot Levi doing his raptors, if he ever chooses to do so. And the pings are still coming down, so they definitely have tracked Levi in the jungle. The first gank shouldn't succeed in the top lane. I want to heavily focus on the early game for the 𝗲𝗍, because she is a game changer here. If she gets 1 or 2 early kills, this could definitely give GAM the advantage they need in all the lanes to finish this game. If she fails to get an early kill, we all know how 𝗲𝗍 plays when she's behind. She doesn't really do much. So let's focus on Levi for a bit.
Well, I mean, do we really want to watch 𝗲𝗍? I don't know if we ever want to see an 𝗲𝗍 on screen. She's just an ugly champion that we all hate. Down in the bot lane, Slay has flashed away. Desire Rakan pressure. Absolutely pushing GAM in. This is very strong from OPG. How did that happen? Did a grand entrance just land? And just
grand entrance is so easy to counterplay a Thresh. This has to be a big mistake for Slay. Maybe he had to bail out 𝗲𝗍 after he overextended or something. I definitely want to see that again, because usually Thresh really can just deal with Rakan, especially early on, very easily. Sure, Rakan has his taunt. The Thresh has all the time in the world to react to the grand entrance. So
yeah. You'd hope so.
Heal also used for 𝗲𝗍. So double summoners against no summoners. Bot lane is now a very interesting point to attack for the side of OPG. And DK has passed bot lane already, so this could be a dive. They have the wave not quite in the correct position.
In the mid lane, PHT's been ignited, Levi's here, and we talked about how well the bot lane was going, but it's another ADC that's made the mistake. But we go straight into the dive. There we go, grand entrance, Slay will go down. It's answered back, though it was not a clean enough dive. Xin was tanking the tower. He goes down. It's a 1-for-1 in the bot lane.
That's really not worth it for OPG. They invested so much to get the bot lane going, to stack the wave and dive on the wave, and in the end they trade 1-for-1. The kill goes over to Slay, so at least that is good news for their side. But still not quite worth it, especially because 𝗲𝗍 was not pressured off the turret and can still collect all the CS, all the experience. So he wasn't hurt too much by this dive, and they lost a lot of time while Levi got going in the mid lane.
Absolutely. Now, once again, this is PHT's, you guys called it a volatile style. Let's actually see what happened here.
GAM, Dia1 takes this trade because he knows Levi is close by. He's a level down, so he shouldn't take this trade in a neutral position, but of course Levi is there. And then, PHT just underestimated the jungler being close to him, so not much he can do afterwards. Just a little bit of a silly mistake. And we talked about PHT being too aggressive in lane, maybe disregarding the position. Oh, another clash on the jungle.
Oh, absolutely there is. Here we go. The top 2v2. Kiaya going very low. There's a cocoon to try and bail him out. And the auto attack doesn't quite finish it. Levi gets slowed up, but he'll be able to scuttle away. And they both manage to live. No one goes down in that 2v2.
For flash trade actually favors GAM here, even though he had to flash out to live. Do we have a big trade in the mid lane? DR1, just a little bit of a damage advantage. And this might actually be a dangerous for DR1. He doesn't have flash.
Wow, yep, the culling into the flash forward and the ignite, and PHT solo kills the solo kill maestro.
Oh, and you can see how agitated DR1 is on his player cam there. If you look at the bottom right, he did not anticipate the counter damage, but of course, flash was still available actually for DR1, so he could try to flash away. A little bit surprising to see him not do that. I feel like he probably thought he was dead anyway. Let's look at this again. I think top lane, no, mid lane first. So he gets a good trade, but now he invests his melee form to go after PHT, and this is very dangerous because PHT there are no minions to block the culling, so it's very easy for PHT to just use one of the highest damage ultimates in the game to get the kill. So DR1 with a misplay for sure. And the first dragon will go over to GAM off this pressure, first reset. And of course, the Kiaya also ulted down. So a lot of invested to get the first dragon. That's quite nice for them.
Yeah, they the back timing from PHT definitely reflected that they didn't really care about the dragon. They just said, okay, whatever, we give that one up. It's just one mountain drake, no big deal. We will be going to an active rift. It is either Infernal or Ocean, as Cloud Drake is our next Drake. It's going to be very interesting. An Infernal Soul would definitely be very interesting should GAM get that one, deal a lot of damage, but we're a long way away from Souls. Ooh, hello. Not far away from his Slay, failing the Flay, and he goes very low. There's the Feather Storm. Vit flashing away from the True Shot Barrage. They're on the run. Easy Love wants it, but the feathers come in. There's a snare, but Vit, you still can't take that one. It's still an Ezreal, but it's a 1-for-0. A lot of unforced errors in this game.
Every day she's back, my favorite ADC, maybe even my favorite champ to watch in the game. Xayah, so much outplay potential, such a great champion, has a very clear strength and weaknesses. I'll just love to watch her. And that was very good Xayah play. Actually used the small buff, or actually quite big buff for Xayah that she got to her base damage on ultimate. Because of course 120, she got 25 extra damage in the first stage. It's a lot more later on in the game, so good to see Xayah play aggressively, and once again,
Levi's been caught out, goes up in the air, dodges all the CC, comes down, wants to try and get to his team, and he gets the lantern out. Very lucky there that Slay had roamed up. Now, OPG
everyone is here though.
Careful. They're outnumbered for the moment, but their bot lane will arrive. We could have a 5v5 in the Herald pit. DK going low. DR1 jumps in. Xin tries to back up, but the grand entrance doesn't land. Culling is ripped out. Can he get anything done? No, not really. The Rift Herald is getting burst. Easy Love a little bit split off here. They could collapse, but it's an Ezreal. He hops over that wall. 2,000 health on the Herald. It's going down lower, but look how much chunking DK has taken. And DR1 has just won them this fight with that poke onto DK. And GAM secure the Herald.
Close one. Interesting that everyone commits to the fight here. I feel like the OPG could have tried to race bot lane. Instead, there's another catch.
Vin's getting caught. Oh, they're not going to actually keep going on this one. Oh, this glitch. Whoa. Stream, hello. I don't know if that did that for everyone. It was jumping around a little bit. Okay, just my end. Hopefully we're still
DR1, Levi feeling very strong on this Elise. He was still a level down compared to Vin, so Vin actually just took the damage and was able to trade back. Sitting on the Herald, and we have a little bit of a top lane push. But if you look at all the platings right now, GAM hasn't been able to take a single plating. So usually you want to use your Rift Herald to break a turret. So actually on the last 2 or 3 platings, there's not really an opportunity to do so. So I feel like this Herald this time around will just be used for 320 extra gold on the first 2 platings. And I'd say it's probably easiest to use top lane because it's easier to push out the top lane, especially if you're able to track DK in the jungle. So let's see where Levi wants to go, but I expect in the next 2 minutes a play in the top lane to get 2 platings early on.
Yeah, that makes a bit of sense to me. My stream's just been buffering a little bit, so I hope we're still synced. If production notices any bad sync issues, do let us know. But getting back into it, as Vit is just pushing out this wave. DK making his way towards mid. We have the brewings of a dive. Culling already used and not landing. They're just going for... Okay, my stream is completely bugged.
Oops. So they did not actually try to dive 𝗄𝗏. 𝗄𝗏 smartly backing off, but they get one. Oh, there might be a fight now.
The Pantheon ult. He is here. GAM outnumbers OPG around this lane, but that ult didn't really get 𝗖𝗏 in a position to pull the trigger. It was very much just brandishing the gun. Will
It was
OPG respect it?
very optimistic for 𝗖𝗏. He thought he was doing the big flank, but now Levi.
Oh, here we go. Levi caught again. Can he get away?
Nicely
He
done.
goes to the brush. Well done. The Karma Tether will land, but now Vin, a bit too far forward, but it doesn't matter because Levi goes down. Slay, ignited up, has to back off, but it's a free kill over to OPG. And the early game is going 100% their way.
Yep, that was just very nicely done from OPG, abusing the overextension for GAM. And Levi tried to play this, tried to get out of there. Played this very nicely. He was aware of the position for Rakan, and Rakan can only stand on 1 point with his charm ready. So he went as far away from the Rakan as he could, but still caught. And now the second dragon will go over to OPG.
You have to guess the Drake Yulwei. What's it going to be? You have to guess the risk.
It's Ocean.
Okay, well, we'll find out if the Weatherman is here or not, as that has been claimed. And it is the Ocean. He's done it.
There we go. My prediction rate continues to go up, and this is actually a big mistake for OPG. As you look at this, I talked about the plating where you want to go for the last two platings. They actually got the opportunity to use this Herald to crack top lane turret, which it didn't look like they could do because all the turrets were still on 5 platings. But they immediately committed everyone to the top lane as they saw the enemy team take dragon and reset. Never mind.
D1's
we
a
might
little
not
bit
have
caught
time.
out here. No, DK gets baseballed away and says, "You know what? I'm going to accept that one." As he backs off,
and out of
buff
nowhere,
steal as well.
And out of nowhere, GAM suddenly in the gold lead. So that was just very good abuse of the positioning and reset timing on the side of OPG. And this is something we kind of touched on with OPG. They need to improve some of the early game macros still. The two teams coming in definitely show good team coordination and very nice planning, and they understand team compositions. But some of the more basic macro plays are not there yet. I think that's just because the two teams weren't really pro teams before. So something OPG has to work on. They should have been able to spot that top lane was in danger. But on the other hand, it's just a little bit of gold for 𝗖𝗏 and Levi, and these champs are supposed to have a gold lead, so it's not the end of the world either.
Yeah, absolutely. That whole gold lead is, I mean, in fact, it's more than just the gold lead up in the top and jungle roles. So it's not the end of the world here for OPG. But let's have a talk about OPG. Where do they want to go from here? How do you think OPG is going to play out the next 10 minutes?
Sadly, we don't really see the items yet. I want to see ADC itemization. There we go. One item each.
In.
So I feel like you want to wait for 2 item power spike with this team composition. Ardent Sense, a very cheap item for Vin, will buff up both of your ADCs and make them very, very strong. Once the IE or makings of the IE are there for Wit, I feel like you can fight, and you have very good kite. The Pantheon is not strong enough to burst any of your ADCs, especially with Karma Shields. Just wait a little bit longer, farm it out for 5 more minutes, maybe give up one of the dragons. I feel like you don't fight for the next one. And then 2 item power spike, go hard on any objective, because your team composition is way stronger on 2 items.
Really? Is it? Even against an Ezreal? You know, Ezreal's known as the strongest 2 item power spike in the game.
Yeah, that's a fair point.
I'm not disagreeing. I want to pick your brain on that.
Yeah,
because I think you're right. I think you make a good point, but it seems risky to fight around an Ezreal if he has 2 items.
So they're definitely strong 2-item power spiking champions on the side of GAM, but their team composition is not that cohesive. They can't really fight 5v5 as well. They are more about picks and single target CCs with top and jungle especially. So if you force 5v5s and get all the CC early on, maybe get your Trundle or your Karma to tank some of the CCs, you have way more backline damage with double ADCs with Ardent Sensor. So I feel like that's the biggest.
PHT
What is PHT
goes
doing?
in on 𝗄𝗏, but he's so far forward, he's just going to get absolutely blown up. 𝗄𝗏 will not die in the trade. And oh no, OPG might have gone a bridge too far. DK gets hooked up. He's trying to run away. Down in the bot lane, a tower goes. But PHT, where were you, son?
It's just PHT. He is a little bit oblivious to map movements, I have to say. That was a little bit too forward.
I think he was very confused why more people suddenly appeared in his ARAM.
Yeah, indeed. He almost got the kill on Dia1, to be fair to him. He was like probably 10, 15 damage off the kill. So Dia1 chucking his potions very, very quickly there to survive. So remember to drink your potions. Definitely helped Dia1 here. He would have died to the Ignite otherwise. But still, one nice kill back to GAM. And overall, OPG shouldn't have given up this kill, but it also doesn't really do much for GAM in the grand scheme of things. So it's actually still okay.
In terms of map pressure, it's quite funny because Dia1 was so low that he 100% had to recall. So he actually wasn't really a threat on the map, which meant that OPG was confident enough to just go take that Rift Herald. It's only a second Rift Herald. GAM was not going to overcommit to that one. It's not that big an objective. But I just think it was good for OPG to recognize, okay, we lost our mid laner. We are a little bit behind, but Vin taking a lot of damage. Easy Love throwing the shells, but the big nuke misses as the true shot barrage goes wide.
But look at the map. GAM has invested a little bit of time to clear out the bot side vision and have given themselves the opportunity to collect a free dragon. The reset is actually very, very bad for them because this cost them 3-4 more seconds and enabled OPG to safely push in top lane. So 2 turrets over to OPG, very good trade. And I talked about OPG potentially giving up the next dragon just to get into position to fight for the next one. I like this read. This is something OPG definitely improved on from week 1 to week 2.
I was about to point out that you pointed it out, but I can't praise you now because you've already said it. That's all right. You just get less praise. That's good. We can't let our Yulwei's head get too big.
Yeah, indeed.
We love him, but he's still got to be able to get through doors.
I really like to see OPG improve from this aspect because this is something they definitely had a lot of flaws in week 1. They overextended so many times for objectives and overcommitted to fights too early. So it's good to see them recognize their strong points in the game, their win conditions in fights, and go for objective trades. Also something both of the newer teams were a little bit iffy on, just trading objectives. Most of them, both of the teams, try to always fight for objectives, which is not always the best call. So really happy to see this, and OPG has closed the gold gap. There is no gold gap whatsoever.
So I just want to get your view on something never mind, as there is a bit of a fight there. Vit goes into the Featherstorm after the flay in the box, but in the end, it's just a few ultimates being traded. Levi gets the catch onto PHT. He's got to try and find a way out. Up into the air goes the spider.
Nice.
Very well done by the Rakan. And it's only, Dia1 actually manages to get just about all the damage. Levi's very low. It's basically a 4v4. Slay goes in. He goes gold. But here comes Kiaya. Gets knocked up instantly. Do they have the damage? No, the Pantheon E is doing everything. Dia1 waiting through the enemy team. Slay flashes forward. Hits that play. And there's another hook. GAM is absolutely dancing left and right, and they rip OPG to shreds.
It's such a great mechanical display from all the players of GAM. One skill shot after the other landing on the for them, and now GAM finally breaks open the game and gives themselves a nice advantage into the mid game that might overcome the team fight disadvantages they have drafted themselves into. But what a nice display of mechanics. Everyone just dancing around, as you said on cast, dancing around the enemies, using this cooldowns.
Just as we praise them.
Yeah, indeed. But let's look at this again. PHT once again, not in the greatest of positions. Oh man, he gets one combo in. Though. Yeah, but I'm not quite sure what kills him here. 𝗀𝗃𝗃𝗃, apparently. I feel
okay.
this has to be 𝗀𝗃𝗃, or maybe the
Well,
corrupting
let's
potion
talk.
for
Let's talk
D1.
about it. Let's talk about it after. So there is
Well,
still a lot
yeah,
of
look at all the
mechanics
skill
going
shots.
on.
D1 engages, it goes out again. Now it's late turn to turn up. D1 with re-engage, and they get one more kill. So they are really nicely dancing around the front line because they don't have a front liner in the team composition, right? So everyone needs to be front line for a few seconds and then swap out to the next one. Then the next one plays front line for 2 seconds. So that was the perfect display of how GAM has to play team fights. In and out, very quick movement, and swap targets for the enemy team has to swap targets because if they stay on one target for more than 2-3 seconds, they're going to die. I.e. now build up for Vid as well. They have a lot of single target damage.
Yep, absolutely.
PhD, please stop.
PhD again. You need to learn some, but DK is here this time. They might want to turn this one on to Dia. Slay coming as well. It's a 2v2, but PhD doesn't have much of a health bar, so they get the hell out of there.
And right now, looking at the vision on the map,
wait a minute, Yulwei. Yulwei, I need an alarm. We've got the weird build alarm. Toot toot, Nash's tooth Elise.
Nice. Oh, it's the best.
It's Conk Nash's Elise. Toot toot. It's the VCS weird build alarm.
And it's Levi building it. That's absolutely perfect. Wow, I've never seen that in a pro game, actually. We've seen some weird builds in the last 2 weeks. Nash's Tooth Echo is one of them. It didn't win in the LEC. Nash's Tooth is one of my favorite items in the game, so I really hope this can succeed.
It's ridiculous if you can make it work. It's one of those items. It's kind of like Gunblade. If it works on your champion, it's broken.
Indeed. It has so many stats. And now the Elites might actually have enough consistent damage to make the enemy team reevaluate their defensive item choices. So you actually might have to go for a little bit of MR. Speaking of MR, there's actually quite a bit of MR already built on the side of OPG, which is a little bit surprising, considering the enemy team comp is almost purely physical. So, Levi.
Here we go.
Levi,
OPG charging in. Up in the air goes Levi once more, and he is getting absolutely burst out. That Nash's Tooth is looking pretty bad right now.
Look at the positioning.
And they're going straight over to Baron. They got a kill in mid lane. They're going to go straight to the big purple worm. See if they can take this one down. GAM, what do you have to say? No jungler. You have to go for the team fight. You don't have a lot of time.
They have a lot of poke. So first Shock Blast only hits DK. They have Karma
But
Shield.
here we go. They're going into the pit. 𝗂𝗃𝗃 takes a lot of damage. He pops that Pantheon E. Baron very low. Secured for OPG. DK with the good smite. Slay now popping that Shirelias to try and get out of there. Can OPG find something? There's a pillar onto Easy Love, but he gets the lantern. He should be okay. Regardless, Baron secured for OPG. And we're in the VCS. We play with swings and roundabouts, and we've swung back towards OPG.
There we go. OPG, very decisive, and that's something we praised about them. Very nice. Immediately recognized Levi's dead. Everyone is out of position for GAM. Even if they try to contest as 4 members, it's not going to be enough. We are strong enough, tanky enough. We have Karma Shields. We can just take this Baron very quickly, of course, with basically 3 ADCs against Baron, because Trundle kind of is an ADC against Baron as well, with all his extra attack speed and extra AD. So, very nice decisive call. They give up another dragon, which puts a GAM on soul point. But honestly, their composition is not the greatest for Ocean Soul, in my opinion. So this might still be enough for OPG to push them over the line. Gold is even. They need to make this Baron count. They need to get 1 inhibitor, in my opinion, here. And they should be able to do so. It's not the easiest composition to push against, because there's a lot of wave clear, of course, for GAM, and a lot of safe wave clear as well. Jace, Ezreal, all AD damage dealers as well. So Baron buff doesn't really protect the minions too well against those.
So just before we move on from that last play, assuming Easy Love gets out here, which he does, I want to praise OPG for how decisive that was. You saw that. Indeed. There was no hesitation. They knew that if they got that kill, but we'll have to come back to it as other kills might be coming in. PhD gets caught off on the side. 𝗂𝗃𝗃 trying to get that one done. Zin going low, but DK's the sacrifice to let the rest of the team get out. They got a little bit cocky there. They overstayed, and now they've got to get away from the rampaging Spartan. who's chasing them down. Oh dear, they might have chosen the wrong path here. They've got to go past 𝗎𝗔𝗍 and Levi. Can they
Indians are there.
a good little use of the mobility? Vin's running in to try and give shield, but it's not going to be enough. Tier 1 gets one. 𝗎𝗍 gets the second. Vin desperately shields himself and he's trying to zoom away, but he can't run fast enough.
There we see GAM's second mode in this team composition.
Oh, we cursed them
Chase.
so much.
Chase forever.
Oh, we cursed them. Oh,
Yeah,
no.
we did.
I shouldn't have praised
It's not
them.
over. It's definitely not over for OPG, but this is definitely now a very bad turn for them because the Baron hasn't done anything for them. And now, if you look at the scoreboard, the Baron will not be there in the next 5 minutes, but a Dragon will definitely stick on the scoreboard. So they actually gave up the Dragon in favor of taking
Tier
Baron,
1
and Baron didn't
goes
do
in under
anything.
the tower, and Vit just overestimated his damage, or perhaps underestimated Jace's, and it's another kill for the boys from GAM.
And it's all falling apart for OPG.
Ooh,
Too many
they want Tier
mechanical
1 though.
displays. Yeah, he's so
They
fast. They can't chase him. That's
Well,
not
he's got
possible.
nowhere to go.
Oh,
I think
Win
they
is
can
here with
chase him.
teleport.
Yeah, that's why I knew they were going to get him. I saw that one coming in. Vin came in with the speed boost, and DK gets the shutdown. So that's a nice bit back, but a lot invested into just the Jace.
So overall, the whole passage of play, of course, favors GAM big time. Their team composition, if you look at it again, is very good at chasing. We have Dark Passage to close the gap. We have Kiaya's ultimate, which came in very handy. Ezreal is fast, and the chase can also slow down the enemies with the Iceborne Gauntlet. Jace, of course, accelerates everyone. Elise gets extra movement speed. So chasing is the best thing that can ever happen for GAM. So OPG needs to be careful about taking fights that will not result in them having to run away, because they can't. It's very hard for them to run away. So now OPG, this is actually now a very dire situation for them. Look at the gold, it's 3k, it's one Dragon off Soul, and even though he said Soul is probably not the best Soul ever for GAM, it's still a very strong one. So if GAM is able to take another good team fight, and then that results in Baron and an Ocean Soul or something, I feel like the game is probably over. So
I have a question for you. Does Trundle ult Ezreal in these fights? He's probably the tankiest member in terms of stats.
Yeah, makes a lot of sense.
Iceborne DD.
Armor.
Yeah.
Maybe Thresh, once he activates his Stone Plate, might be another good target, especially because Thresh is also in the front line, so you want to kill him first. I feel like either Thresh or Ezreal definitely are the two best targets here. Ezreal, of course, is... There's a question about how useful an ult on Ezreal is, because he's still very safe. He has flash and heal available, his E, of course, as well. So it might be better to target the front line in Slay.
Well,
I feel
we
like
were
Slay is
talking
probably...
earlier about we're playing musical front lines, right?
But look at the Dragon Timer. This is now one of the most important fights in the game, and OPG is trying to strike first.
Yeah, they absolutely are. They've got very good positioning here. Can they find a way in? I definitely think they can. PHT, ooh, maybe not. I overestimated or perhaps underestimated the Lantern. Such a good spell as we continue to wait with bated breath.
PG has better positioning, but there's quite a little bit of vision for GAM. So vision, they might be able to contest this as the stream.
Oh, Shirelius is popped, as is the true shot right, and Ocean Soul secured by Levi. Was there ever any doubt that that man would hit the smite? Slay goes down, but it's all just for the soul, unless they lose too much more. Kiaya diving forward, pops the E, can't take any damage. DK burns down. GAM, what can you do? Zin gets the knock up. This is all on Vit, but he gets hit by the bomb from 𝗎𝗍𝗍. Goes for the Featherstorm, but can't get the pullback. And OPG are dismantled. Ocean Soul was secured, and GAM looks radiant.
Wow, what an insane damage was that from 𝗎𝗍𝗍 and DR1 combined on Vid. Vid did not think he was going from a full HP to less than half HP in a matter of seconds there. That was way too much damage for him to deal with. And now it's Ocean Drake, Ocean Soul, of course, and they have positioning on Baron as well. They might just immediately turn to Baron. They have a lot of sustained damage as well.
Absolutely turning to Baron. He's dying.
So there we go. This might just be where GAM wins the game. Very nice teamfight execution once again. And Levi coming in with a flash smite steal. 𝗎𝗍𝗍 I like 𝗬𝗲𝗄𝗏's positioning once we get into the replay. Let's see how 𝗬𝗲𝗄 plays this fight, because I think he waits long enough to strike when the time has come for him to shine. Very good S-Wheel play. And even though this team composition doesn't really look like a good teamfight composition, they are playing this flawlessly and just using all their mobility and all their re-engage tool to win the fights anyway.
Yeah, absolutely. This was also OPG not really getting a huge amount done. I feel like they didn't play their team fight comp. I think we do continue to see the solution. It just didn't fit the comp. Imagine what an Orianna could have done there.
Well, yeah,
PhD,
I mean,
though.
he always looks better in hindsight. I feel like PhD has played a decent game. He got the solo kill against 𝗬𝗲𝗏. Of course, he still has his PhD tendencies that he needs to work on, where he just overextends way too much and plays too aggressively with no vision on the enemy team. But yeah, it's now. I mean, there's always the potential of 3 items Xayah and 3 items Lucian just killing everyone, but it seems very unlikely after the last few team fights have played out very much in GAM's favor.
Yeah, and I want to point out someone we haven't been talking about a huge amount this game, because there's been a lot to talk about, is 𝗬𝗲𝗏. We talked about how their frontline needs to rotate in and out, but he's been doing a really, really good job on this Pantheon of being in the front line for extended periods of time and using a lot of the time passive E. He's just putting that shield up and saying, I'm not a real tank, but when my E's up, I don't take damage. So I'm the best tank. And he just stands in the front line. He's not dealing a huge amount of damage, though he's dealing a fair bit. But he's setting his team up for success, and that's what 𝗬𝗲𝗏 does.
Indeed. And that's why I actually like 𝗬𝗲𝗏 on Pantheon.
Oh, hang on a minute. We'll have to come back to it, as OPG doesn't want to see their base broken, but with a good stopwatch, Levi, he buys so much time. Up in the air he goes. DK is the first to fall, and it might have been the last-ditch defense that turns into it all being over as the 𝗀𝗏𝗏 falls. OPG's members are falling, and I believe GAM will take game 1.
There we go. Did you see 𝗬𝗲𝗏's damage again in this fight? That was insane. So much damage from 𝗬𝗏𝗏. 𝗬𝗏𝗏 is quite a strong champion so far. He hasn't really seen too much success in the VCS, but I'm happy to see some 𝗬𝗏𝗏 strike here as well. 33 minutes, maybe a little bit more than anticipated, and looked a little bit dire from time to time for GAM. But here we go. They get the first game, and this was basically just by out-microing their opponents in team fights, which, I mean, you expect from GAM, right? They are supposed to be the most mechanically skilled team here, and they put that on display once again in this game.
Absolutely. But welcome back, Vinny. What did you think of that game, my friend?
Sims tried so hard. He did his best.
He did.
He played team fights very well, but in the end, it was, I don't know. I think we were praising it, and it did, and it looked really good. But what kind of was actually an undoing of OPG was that Baron call. They rushed it, and then with all the poke that came in, they got it, and then they had to give up that dragon because of that, all the poke that came in from GAM, they had to give up that dragon, which put them on soul point. Which
I think it was more the execution of the Baron. Honestly,
I mean,
I feel like if they'd slow played the Baron buff, then that Drake wouldn't have mattered.
Yeah,
they rushed really hard.
They definitely overforced and got destroyed at that team fight, which was the deciding factor. But
yeah,
I think because they were like the decisive Baron call worked, it got into their heads that all right, go, keep them off, keep them on their toes, and then they overpushed, they got collapsed on, and that it happens.
I think the two biggest things
definitely see what went wrong. So
yeah, I think the two biggest things coming in at that situation were, one, it feels really bad to just go for Ocean Drake because they had only 1 Drake, so they were super far away from Soul. And sometimes it's hard to recognize for teams that taking the dragon is better in that situation to stall the game and play for late game. And then the second one, of course, is that Baron, the Baron overpush, where they were just too aggressive, as you said before. So 2 things happening at once that were very bad for OPG, but overall I feel like GAM just stepped up big time in terms of mechanics and outplayed them in teamfights. Not much OPG can do there if they're just outclassed in teamfights.
I also think they could have won the game if Levi hadn't have stolen the Baron, because it looked like that team fight otherwise
Yeah.
would have gone better, having that extra
Potentially.
regen to help. Well, actually, the regen wouldn't have mattered that much on the side of OPG, but denying it from GAM, that
Indeed,
they
yeah.
might have been able to sneak in a couple extra kills. Maybe it wouldn't have looked so. It was probably done anyway, but yeah, I think that still really
Yeah, that's a good point.
removed all hope. Yeah.
So we do need to decide on a MVP of the game. I'll leave that up to you two. I know who I'm leaning towards, but I'll let you guys lead us off.
I'm going for 𝗀𝗃𝗏 because even though his scoreline didn't look so good, he was just whenever he was in, it felt like OPG really couldn't do that much because he just absorbed so much damage. Even if he was caught, he absorbed so much damage. Like if that fight in mid lane comes in, immediately blocked by Xin, but then still walks away fine because he has that E, and he basically undid all OPG's attempts to strike back.
I feel like I want to go for 𝗀𝗏 because I feel like he played mid and late game team fights very well on the Jace and got a lot of the damage done. So my pick is 𝗀𝗏.
So to break the tie, I'm going to go for Easy Love. No, I'm also actually going to say 𝗀𝗏 as well. I think 𝗀𝗏 is a very strong contender, but I agree. I think without 𝗀𝗏, those fights just don't work out at all. I think he absorbed so much damage and so much pressure. So I'm going to go 𝗀𝗏. So due to how ties work, I think 𝗀𝗏 will get MVP, but a big old shout out to 𝗀𝗏 and the rest of GAM. Now we will be going to a short little break to catch our breath and get ready for game 2. Go get a drink, everyone, and then scroll down below the stream and join the Discord community. We'd love to see you there. But we'll be back in just a couple of minutes to see if OPG can bounce back or will GAM secure the win. Welcome back, everybody, for Game 2 of OPG, taking on GAM. It was a back-and-forth affair. OPG had moments of brilliance, but in the end, the big dogs of GAM took away the win. What do we want to see changed in Game 2, boys?
Not the mid lane player.
Well, yeah, so just to, while you think about an answer to that question, 𝗬𝗲 has been subbed out for 𝗀𝗄𝗃. A move that doesn't make a lot of sense if you're thinking about just how to win. I think this is just giving 𝗀𝗄𝗃 a bit of a run in a game that they think they're going to win anyway.
Yeah,
It's a strange move.
that's
But
definitely.
to come back to your question, for me it is overpowered team composition. While I can see how it works, I feel like if you went Karma mid lane and tank top, the comp would have been so much better. So let's see a little bit more of a traditional teamfight comp, because I feel like the teamfights actually look good. Not great, but decent. So just go ham on the teamfight aspect and try to out-teamfight GAM, especially now that a different player is in, so their coordination and synergy shouldn't be as good.
Yeah, GAM's Oh, actually. Oh, don't worry. Sorry, GAM doesn't really need to change all that much. Just if you can get more or less what you got. But I have a feeling we're going to see another Karma first pick. Yep. There we go. There are way better first picks in the meta, so I really don't understand this.
What would you like to first pick?
Ezreal?
Yeah, that's really fair.
Like,
I can.
Ezreal?
Please don't
really
answer back
disagree.
with the Lucian. PHT, please learn the lesson.
I don't actually disagree too much with the Karma. I feel like Karma is a very strong pick. You have to use her well, but now 𝗀𝗄𝗃 is in, and 𝗀𝗄𝗃, oh, blind Wukong, that's scary.
Yeah, the
Yeah, I can play
blind
Mordekaiser.
Wukong, unless we're
Give me
going to
the
see
bear.
some sort
Give
of
me the bear.
Wukong flex to the jungle.
Give me
But
the bear.
you're just opening up this. You're opening up so much another poke comp essentially if you just have Karma Ezreal. You can
Yeah, by
put
the way-
Jace up top.
You just said Karma is a bad first pick because you want to see Ezreal. Hey, let's look at this. They could just hand it over Ezreal. Like, yep, you can have Ezreal too. Just
Yeah,
take
I
Ezreal.
mean-
You forgot to play him lock him in the first pick, so we definitely let you have
We
it in
felt
the second
bad.
one.
There you go.
What?
Have an Ezreal. And we're gonna see Grove's jungle, which makes sense.
Karma Graves is a comp that has been seeing a lot of play in VCS. Karma mid lane, Graves jungle to give Graves a lot to fight with. I think this is the strongest iteration of Graves comps, where he has a support designated to peel and buff him up. So yeah, I don't mind the Graves too much.
Graves
I still
is
feel like
pretty
it's a
good
little
with
too early.
With a support mid laner.
Yeah, I agree.
I think that's 100% the best time to play Graves. I don't think Nidalee is a great answer into it.
Nidalee is considered a Graves counter, but it's
I don't see
this comp is very strange for Overpower for me. They have very different modes so far. Wukong wants to flank and engage teamfights. Nidalee wants to poke, and Lucian actually wants to side lane. So, not sure where they want to go here. They have a lot of upfront burst damage, I guess. So you can go for a pick composition, which fits
So-
their style for week 1. So
if Wukong did want to go for a Blade of the Ruin King build, you could set yourself up for a nice 1-3-1 with
Yeah, that's
Nidalee going farming between lanes and applying that
but the
pressure.
enemy team has
But-
counterpicked top lane. So are you going to win top side?
No.
I want to see Volibear. I want to see
also-
Volibear.
I don't trust Overpower to play on 1-3-1
Yeah,
comp.
That's a very
That's
fair
the
point,
bigger
too.
issue here.
Hecarim.
Hecarim or Volibear or Mordekaiser. I think those three
Yorick.
are the
I
premier
don't actually
champs.
know. I don't actually know if Yorick's any good. in
No,
Wukong.
not Yorick. Wukong is
I mean-
Yorick's biggest counter. He
I don't
pops it.
actually know that matchup very well. I haven't played either.
I feel like
for a long
Yorick
time.
can play, but it's not great.
No, it's not.
The early game is definitely a struggle for Yorick in that lane, as it is in most lanes for Yorick, to be honest.
With that
But,
being I
more
wouldn't
teamfight
actually
power.
be against seeing Lucian go bot for a full-on kill.
I agree. And give me
that would
Orianna mid lane. Just go wombo combo. I actually think this composition could very easily go hard ultimate wombo combo, Wukong, Orianna into Nidalee jumping in and assassinating stuff, with Lucian backing up and jumping into the mix as well. Ugh. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, it's good into
that's
Leona. So fair enough.
The point of that here, personally. I don't mind Braum. I quite like Braum in Pokemps as takeaway. But
Yes.
oh, I hope we see the volley.
It's locked
Yes.
in, Lee. Here we
got it.
go.
We got
The
it.
bear is here.
The bear against the monkey in the top lane. There we go. This is
It's a
2020 summer
hot-
split meta.
Bear versus monkey, and there's a cat to go along with it. We have a Vulsu going on right now.
Indeed. Just need Yumi as well. Sadly,
Yeah.
it's not going to happen. Right.
Unfortunately not.
Huh.
See Rise. Okay.
More side lane pressure.
So
It's one of PHP's
know,
stable.
we were
He has
right.
definitely played a lot of
that is Lucian bot lane.
Yeah.
Unless Vin's all of a sudden playing Rise.
Hope not. So, what do we think of these team comps, boys? Let's talk about OPG first, because I think GAM's comp is a bit more exciting. Let's talk about OPG. What do we think? Have they drafted well?
Seems to
Can
be
you see them walking away with a win?
win lane, win game with Rise as an insurance policy, but I don't think that's gonna happen because it's GAM.
I don't know why.
Yeah.
I don't like the Lucian. I think the Lucian.
I feel like if you go Lucian, you have to go Orianna here. I don't really like Lucian Rice as a pairing. Very short ranged. Might get wrecked by some of the champs on the other side. Yeah, I feel like the
think
Rice is a little bit
Azir might have been
of a weird one. Yeah, Azir, Orianna, something with a little bit more range.
Rise gives, but has
I like
that
it.
range.
Yeah. So, yeah, a little bit of a strange comp. I still can see them win team fights, especially on early power spikes. Lucian on 2 items is strong, Rice on 2 items finally gets going. Wukong on 2 is super strong. So I feel like mid-game team fights is where it's at, with a lot of CC and a lot of very strong fight start opportunities on their side. So I feel like mid-game team fighting around objectives is OPG's main goal here.
And what about GAM? They've got the bear in the top lane. What do you want to see out of the rest of them? Do we like the comp? We're going to have to make it quick. Vinny, give us your short little take on GAM's comp. What do you think of it?
I think it's gonna be cool. Gonna see pretty much early pressure and then from mid jungle and then leading into team fights.
And who's going to win?
GAM.
Okay, cool. We will see you after this game, Vinny. We love having you. Thank
Was
you.
that snappy enough for you?
Hey, it was one word. I can't complain. I love you, Vinny. You know I flame you out of love. But let's talk a bit more in depth now that he's gone about about what we want to see out of these early teams. Where do we want to see these teams prioritizing early?
Yeah, I feel like this is very topside focused for probably both teams. Wukong wins lane into Volibear. Well, Bear wins lane into Wukong. But this also might give Nidalee a good gank opportunity. Nidalee loves to gank topside, especially on red side Nidalee. So I feel like Nidalee wants to get an early gank on Volibear in. On the other side, Graves should have priority in mid and top lane too to constantly invade the topside jungle. So it will be very interesting to track early jungle movement. Will Nidalee try to get all her topside camps and then move into bot lane priority and give up topside for Graves, or will she try to contest him even though the lanes are set up to work better for GAM? That is the most interesting part to track here in the jungle matchup. And Graves doesn't really want to go for early ganks. He either wants to counter gank or just power farm. So let's see what Levi has in store for us. I feel like he will just try to track Nidalee, place early wards, and go for power farm as much as possible.
Yeah, that makes sense. And we do see up in the top lane, Vin cannot approach the wave. We have Kiaya with his passive stacked, the Relentless Storm, shocking its way between all of the minions, as well as I believe he took his E, the Maul, at level 1. So yeah, he just can't step up. Wukong not having a lot of fun here.
Yeah, the problem here for Wukong is he's very good into AD matchups, of course, with his free armor. But First, 𝗀𝗍𝗵 deals a lot of mixed damage, of course, with his passive and also his E dealing magic damage. But then also he has very strong trade patterns with sustain. So it's just very hard for Wukong to ever get a favorable trade into 𝗀𝗍𝗵. And we already see 𝗀𝗃𝗃 perma pushing. It's kind of a necessity, or it kind of comes even if you don't want to on 𝗀𝗍𝗵, because yeah, your passive just will push all the time. It's basically Ionic Spark. So
Yeah.
I'm a little bit surprised Nidalee didn't go for an early gank attempt in the top lane. I feel like she started top side, so she definitely wanted to fight around bot side a little bit more. But this now isolates top side, so Vin is in a lot of
does
trouble.
get down. There's a lot of damage. Ooh, it's not a kill. It's not a kill or a summoner forced, but it is a lot of health bar gone from the Rise. Oh boy,
That's a very good pressure gank. Gives Graves
and he
even
gives all
more.
the prio. He gave all the prio over to
Oh, good
GAM,
smite.
the DK with a great smite. I wasn't sure who got that until it swam and popped its head up. It was very close, but it was DK securing it. And in the bot lane, we never stop. So he's an engage. Vit,
It's
one
Braum,
auto
though.
attack away from getting stunned. He gets stunned.
There we
Easy
go.
Love going low. Flashes being used. Slay on the run. There should be another round of Leona CC. And there it is. Xin. We're shown why we love him as he goes in and secures the first blood in the bot lane. OPG off to a good start.
Nicely done, and very badly played for GAM's bot lane. But GAM's bot lane had problems in the last one too. Nidalee, can she go for the dive down in the bot lane? There's a question mark ping, so they are aware of Nidalee's positioning. Now she's overextending between turrets, and Ezreal is there as well. Can we please go to bot lane?
It's all right. We're there now. I think are we a little bit out of sync? I'm at 4:26, 27, 28.
He might be 1
29.
second behind you, yeah. So if you can stop for 1 second, that would be great.
Yep.
Okay,
Hopefully our production did that as well. But there we go. Sorry about that, everyone. Welcome to Bootleg Streaming. If you want us to stop doing that, tell Riot that you want an official English broadcast.
Indeed.
And then they'll hire, I don't know, some good casters or something. Anyway, back in it, back on track. That is a very good first blood. We said, well, you and Vinny, I should say, said that the Leona Lucian is basically just a full kill lane. And, well, they got a kill. We've got a Bilgewater Cutlass to a Mana Crystal.
Yeah. So I still think GAM could have gotten out of there pretty easily. They overextended into Leona and disregarded her cooldowns coming off very quickly again. So usually Braum is very good at blocking Leona engage because he just positions between his carry and the enemy carry and takes all the damage from the enemy carry. So Leona actually gets hit by your carry and you win the trades because Braum has 40% damage reduction on his E. But this time around, they turned it around and went aggressive. So Braum had no shield to protect 𝗍𝗏 anymore. 𝗍𝗏 has no heal, so he has no extra HP to work with. And Cleanse doesn't really do much when you still get hit by all the damage. So it's just an overextension. Once again, not the greatest laning phase for GAM's bot lane, who already struggled last game. Remember, they gave up a solo kill, or a 2v2 kill, I should say, in the last bot lane matchup as well. Meanwhile, OPG used their bot lane pressure to just get the first dragon. Nidalee very good at taking dragons early on. So there we go. Good early start for OPG again. They got the last first dragon as well in the last game. So it's all going their way so far.
Yep, it is looking
Not so much on
pretty
top lane,
good. Yeah, top lane, this is super rough, but this was a counter pick. Vin hasn't died. He hasn't been dove or anything like that, which is good. The monkey can
What you're
still
telling
have...
me is Vin is better than Zeros.
I mean, yeah, Vin's not washed up.
Oh, no.
Oh, man. He's not even playing.
Yeah, I know. He's only playing for Sunday, but there we go. That's a big dive.
This is a 4-man. Easy Love is just dead. I was looking at the Realm Warp. I didn't notice that he was already just going down. Vit gives him the thumbs down. And OPG.
Actually, it feels Batman for PhD, but it's not over. It seems like Genza wants to continue fighting. Nope.
No, I think that's backing off. It's okay.
A PhD gave up a little bit of a wave in the mid lane and used his ultimate to arrive late to the party. In the end, it's just a successful dive from the bot lane. Of course, Braum had to back off because of the pressure, so it's definitely not only on OPG's bot lane, but it counts on the scoreboard as an assist and a kill to just the bot lane. So very strong start for Lucian. He needs to be ahead early, of course. Lucian, not the greatest scaling ADC in the world, so good to see him go off to a strong start. And if he gets even any more ahead, I feel like Ezreal can't even enter lane really anymore. Has to farm with his Q only. So that's a strong point on the map right now. And I want to see even more resources invested into bot lane. That's one way OPG actually played against 𝗂𝗏𝗏𝗄 in the second game. They just went bot lane over and over and over again, used all their TPs, and got like 7 kills in the bot lane. The game was just over. So let's see if they can replicate that game plan here once again.
Yeah, we'll have to see. But they have rotated their bot lane up to go towards this Herald, I assume. So it looks like they want to have a bit of a sticky beak into the jungle. See if they can catch out anyone on the rotate. 𝗀𝗄𝗃 doesn't see it coming. 𝗀𝗄𝗃 doesn't see much as he is just dead. And Vit, you are hitting the emotes a lot today, my son. I love it.
I like it.
You better win. You're 3-0 and up. You've flashed about 5 emotes. If you don't win, you are looking like a silly chicken. But the Rift Herald will be going down. And OPG.
And I really like this rotation.
OPG's looking good. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Yeah, this rotation was very interesting. We don't really see many teams send their mid laner into the bot lane when swapping for the Rift Herald. So they actually committed to a potential 4v5, because of course, when the enemy top bot lane swaps as well, you have to fight against one more person. PhD had no TP. But they banked on the fact that the ambush would land on 𝗀𝗏𝗃, and it worked. So now they actually got everything. They got free farm and levels on PhD, got the Rift Herald still, and bot lane didn't even lose anything. They actually got another kill. So win on all fronts, and we can see 1.4 gold advantage, K gold advantage, of course.
1.4 gold? Jeez, we're going down to the minutia. How do you even earn 1 gold?
VCS
1.4. No, you can actually see the screen. And I haven't tried the wrap yet.
So let's look at the next objectives coming up. It's the Ocean Dragon. Would be nice for the Dragon Snowball. There is potential of either Infernal or Cloud Soul, and honestly, both would be nice. Cloud Soul is not the worst with their composition, especially Wukong. Absolutely loves the Cloud Soul. Spin even faster and quicker into the backline. So I feel like both souls would be nice. Infernal is the preferred choice, of course, with Rice especially and Nidalee. So let's see if they invest more vision into the bot side to contest the next dragon, because right now there's actually a vision advantage for GAM with 3 pink wards guarding the river.
Yeah, so far, but let's have a bit of a zoom out. One thing that is going very much in GAM's favor is the jungle farm. We've seen DK try and move over the map as PhD, just fails at taking the big raptor. But we've seen DK making plays around the map, assisting in dives and the like, and that has meant that he is about 10 CS down under this Graves, but we'll get a first tower in the bot lane.
Look at what he's getting done.
PhD is on the run, gets locked up, but he can't get away, and collateral damage from Levi will live up to its name.
What a perfect time to talk about junglers. You nailed it there. Both junglers very active and got something done. Levi got a kill while DK got down into the bot lane and got the first turret. So both junglers get a lot of gold for themselves. Maybe a little bit more selfish for Levi.
What's it going to be?
It's going to be Cloud. I feel like it's time for a little bit of the Windy Rift. Nope, it's not, unfortunately. But GAM are, of course, very happy with this one because they stopped the Dragon Snowball. But let's look. Yeah, this is not much to look at. He can't break the tether. Was actually very close to breaking the tether for 𝗀𝗀𝗃 there. But 𝗀𝗀𝗃 spat himself up, flashed after him to not have the tether be broken. So they get the stun. Very easy execution afterwards.
They're going for the bear.
Yeah,
they're going on a bear hunt. There's the Cyclone. They're just re-engaging. He's going forward with the Thundering Charge. 𝗀𝗏𝗃's here.
Who's on
and
the hunt
bear
here?
Is just said, you dive me? This is my domain.
Who was on the hunt there? I'm really not sure. Kiaya was not phased. He had no fear whatsoever. But now PhD on the hunt on the other side of the map. Can he get to Ezreal?
I feel like this is honestly just a bit of wave trading. I think easy
It's
level.
probably just a little
out
bit.
easily. This is just farm. Cool. PhD might have found
Looks
him
exciting.
now. Oh, teleport's being called. There's the Rift Herald.
Now,
I'm sorry.
Easy Love is dead.
Yeah, he's absolutely dead. The Trishot Barrage looked very weird. Hello? And the Realm War to make sure that no one can re-engage. And we out of there. OPG get another decisive call.
They got another teleport for 𝗀𝗃𝗏 as well. That was actually not on screen, but 𝗀𝗃𝗏 used his teleport, so that is now gone as well. I would like to see 𝗀𝗃𝗏 just stick on the ball. Oh, he's recalling. Feel like he could have gotten one more plate there. Now the plates are probably off the table as we hit 13 minutes. So there's no big objective you need to reset. I question this reset. This was a little bit strange from 𝗀𝗏𝗏. I feel like he could have used this time and the pushing wave to get 2 platings on this Volibear, make him even stronger. Instead, he's resetting, going for the platings now. But now it's getting close to 14 minutes. So let's see if he can still make it happen and mine a little bit more gold. I feel like that was the first reset mistake we have seen. Very obvious reset mistake in the early game.
Yeah, I feel like 𝗀𝗏𝗏 made an interesting choice. I was going to bring it up when I saw it. He went the Bramble Vest, which is obviously a good item, but it's 800 gold, and he now doesn't actually have
1,000.
a finished first item. 1,000 gold. Yeah, you're right. Sorry, I can count. I know numbers. It's 1,000 gold for the Bramble Vest. It's 800 for Eggsies, which is the other Grievous Wound item. Just to show I'm not completely stupid, but regardless, now he is behind the first completed item. Was it worth going the Bramble Vest? Because he was dominating lane. Wukong's healing was not a factor.
Yeah, I feel like Bramble Vest is not really there for the healing. He also went a very early Ninja Tabai, so Wukong is not dealing any damage to him. So even though he's a little wow.
PhD's dead. 𝗀𝗏𝗏 popped the Stormbringer, went into Big Bear mode, and cleaned
He clearly
up
doesn't
right.
need MR. I just wanted to say this might actually be bad for him later when he has to face against IP opponents, but clearly that's not the case. So fair enough. Just build armor, make 1 enemy or 2 enemies completely useless against you, and then you just outplay the rest. And suddenly you are the strongest point in the map for GAM, and we know 𝗀𝗏𝗏 is an incredible player, so I really like to see him on the bear. But what actually happened here?
I think he just pulled the trigger. Yup, there we go. Kaboom!
Nice timing.
Into the Stormbringer, and he just mauled him to death.
So he knew something about the Rice matchup the Rice didn't know. So he used the time. He was marked by the Rice E, and knew Rice would W him, which is a 2-second stun, of course, right? If you're marked. Oh, can we see the steal?
I don't think so. They used the collateral damage, but nope, the Rift Herald is secured. PhD picking that one up. And OPG get out of there. But do continue.
To quickly finish my point, he just used his ultimate to avoid the stun, and then PhD had nothing to kite him with. So very smart play for 𝗀𝗏𝗏. He probably has played this matchup before, because it definitely looked like he knew exactly what he was doing. Now he's 2 levels above PhD, 1 level above Win. He is honestly going to be a side lane win condition.
He's got to try. He's going Triforce.
Yeah, he is.
He's going Triforce. We love it. We love to see it. The bear with the Triforce. This is definitely going to be the bear.
Damage.
This is the bear in the big blue house for sure. Terrified me as a child. I don't know if that's a thing outside of Australia. It was a kid show.
What you're talking about?
Bear in the big blue house.
Sounds terrifying though.
Looking back at it, it was actually really wholesome, but I was terrified of that bear. But anyway, things that to be terrified of is GAM's coordination right now, as they are getting back into it. It looked like OPG was calling the shots for quite a while, but now GAM looks like they know where they want to be, and it's at this dragon.
They're still 2k gold down, by the way. We have talked about GAM being on the better. Oh, wow. Slay takes a lot of damage, and this might be a big team fight. We talked about mid-game team fights.
Coming in. He goes forward. There's the Cyclone, knocking him up. PhD trying to deal some damage. Slay is dead, and boom, lots of damage onto the side of OPG, but it doesn't matter because it's all going their way. GAM on the run. The dragon goes to OPG. 3 kills go to OPG. And Overpower Gaming needs a nerf.
Indeed. And you know what? Maybe you shouldn't group up as 5 against the Wukong in a pit. That's not the hardest execution there. You just pressed R and held everyone. Didn't even have to do anything special. Didn't even have to flash into the back line. Just pressed R. Everyone was there to follow up. And the 2k gold lead actually mattered because everyone else was super strong, especially, of course, bot lane difference came in handy. Yeah, is also not as tanky as you think he is. Look at this Wukong. No. Just blowing up Slay immediately. And yeah, 𝗀𝗃𝗃𝗃 gets a fair amount of damage in, but yeah, it's not enough to turn the fight. 𝗀𝗄𝗏 is not yet on an item breakpoint where he can actually do anything. And Graves is Graves, so he doesn't do anything either. So not the greatest showing so far. It looks like GAM is not really there for team fights, and they might have to go full-on split push mode with 𝗀𝗃𝗃 as their sole win condition in the side lane.
Yeah, I don't know how that's going to work out against the 4-0 Lucian of Vit. And no. It's another catch. In they go. There's no Cyclone here for the Monkey. It's a few seconds away. This could be OPG overstepping just a little bit, but with a Realm Warp, and now the Cyclone's here. I tell a lie. Of course they weren't overstepping. They knew exactly where the mark was. Levi goes down. Slay will follow him. Can they get onto Genza? He is a very fast Karma, and I don't think they want to go under tower, so it's just 2 kills. And OPG continue the killer instinct.
With game 2s for GAM, they are looking so out of sorts when it comes to calling the positioning. Cyclone, they had good timing on the Cyclones. They knew Cyclone was not up. It was like 2 seconds away when the first engage. Then they overstepped and Cyclone came back off cooldown. But overall, it was just very much obvious that OPG would have the numbers advantage there. So very disappointing fight for GAM, and once again lose a lot of members. Look at the gold lead. It's now at more than 5k, 2 dragons over to OPG as well. They also have a very, very solid team composition to just force 5v5 fights. So that is where
apparently,
we currently stand.
Sorry, everyone. We do just need to jump out of it for a sec, just because apparently we're out of sync with our production stream. Our producer could tell us what timestamp they're at, and we'll fix that up. Okay. So I will pause at 30.
Okay.
31, 32.
Okay, we should be back in sync now.
All right, everyone. Sorry about that, everyone. This is just the reality of bootleg casting. If you don't like it, tell your local rioter to give us a clean feed. And
there's no time for that.
Do it ever again. But there is absolutely no time. As Slay has been caught out, in comes the culling. Look at all the damage coming out of Vid here. He is absolutely carving them up. As there is another Zenith Blade into the queue, and PHT gets handed a free kill. As Braum goes down. What an impactful champion. What a good bot lane for GAM. And down in the bot side, we've got Cyclone. Vin is spinning and winning. Can he get an E forward? He can, but he can't quite kill Genza. And now he's got to get away from Levi, as this is an angry, angry jungler. But anger can only get you so far, and it won't get you to the Baron in time. As OPG gets that one. Woo! Slow down, VCS. Yes.
GAM losing on all fronts. This game's basically over. Look at the gold lead, 7k. We have dragon advantage this time for OPG as well. So the big thing that cost them the last game is actually not in place here. And overall, just it's looking like they have absolutely no chance in any team fights. GAM, that is, of course. So this might very well go to a third game, surprisingly. And OPG started off the very first series in the VCS also getting stomped in game 1. So will they go 2-1 against GAM as well? That would be very, very interesting and exciting news for the Optimus fans. But how good will their closing be? I feel like this team composition is very easy to close with. You just have to brute force team fights. You have Wukong jumping in, you have Ryze to follow up, Carling from the backside, and then Xin jumping in as well. So closing this game shouldn't be too much of a hurdle. I feel like no one is tanky enough on the side of GAM to take anything. Oh, the place.
Yeah, he really ganked
so excited for unfortunate. I wanted to see cool blast cone play, but never mind.
I can still see a Wukong using the ones close to the base, launching yourself into the base to get a big cyclone. That could be fun.
Have you played with the new blast cones on Infernal's map?
Played a couple
very
of games.
Strange. I've not gotten used to it yet. It's very strange to suddenly have a blast cone.
The only time it's come into me is I got an escape. Speaking of escapes, I think Genza will be looking for one. Will he find it? Levi, once again,
He's so
is the
fast.
monkey denier. Levi's been here every time when Vin's going to go for these big plays. Now he has to try and get away, as this is an absolutely rampaging Graves. Teleport comes in, and Vin wants to extend the fight. PHT's got to get here. Goes Golden, does Vin. Realm Warp is called. Vit's here as well. They're boxing him in, and Levi will be sent home in a box as he goes down.
Yeah. Once again, Levi tried to atone for the sins of his mid laner, but sadly, Kiaya.
And Kiaya has been caught as well. And we love to see the bear, but we don't get to see him much as he ascends to the ether. Oh dear.
Like it's still a good showing for the Volibear overall. His team has just inted him too much to actually have impact. But Kiaya has played his great laning phase, and he got the solo kill on PHT down the bot lane as well. So this is definitely not to say Volibear should not be picked again. I feel like he looked quite decent. Maybe not in the late game, but
hard
yeah.
one lane. There's
And
not much you can do.
blind
with
picking
it.
Wukong is very dangerous. I feel like you shouldn't, even though this game will make people believe that blind picking Wukong is fine. It could have gone very differently too. So I don't really want to see early rotation blind pick Wukong again. I feel like that's too dangerous of a thing to do, especially into players like Kiaya.
Yeah, I completely agree. Particularly with that last point. Someone like Kiaya, you know he has the counter picks prepared. He is a very, very deep player. And this Volibear, this isn't going to look good on his stats, but it's really not the Volley's fault. I also want to put it out there because I know what fans are thinking. This also isn't Genza's fault. Genza has been fine. They're on karma duty. They can't do much more. This is really a failure of the bot lane. Is it a failure of GAM's bot lane, or is it that OPG knew what they had to do and they executed very well? Because I can't point to too many mistakes from GAM's bot lane.
Okay. The first kill definitely was a big mistake for GAM. OPG played it well, and they abused the mistakes for GAM, but this shouldn't have happened. They got the trait, the favorable trait GAM side did, and then they just overextended, disregarded Leona re-engage. That was just a pretty silly mistake, I feel, for GAM's side. So definitely some mistakes were made, but also nicely capitalized on for OPG's bot lane. Especially, Vit and Zin just seem to be in good synergy, and they've played together for some time now. Definitely showing up like one of the better bottom lanes, especially when it comes to 2v2 and their coordination, how to re-engage and when to look for fights in the pure 2v2 in the bot lane.
Yeah, absolutely. So, OPG still looking to close this one out. Baron is respawning in 1 minute and in 20 seconds. What are they going to do until then? They are in that sort of suffering from success phase where they've taken too much before. Oh, but in the mid lane, as we come back in, they're not suffering anymore as Slay is chunked out. They're trying to get onto this tower, but Easy Love throwing bombs from the side will clear the wave. And we can't quite get it done. Kiaya charging in. DK's in a lot of trouble. Goes gold to dodge the stun. There's a big true shot barrage into the big bear slam. But it's not enough as Kiaya just melts away. And in comes the Wukong spinning to win. And Easy Love has to go over the wall. It's just Levi and him left alive. And OPG push into the mid lane. They're just too far ahead.
And this wasn't the greatest macro decision ever for OPG to go for the dive there. Absolutely no need to do so. You have to wait 1 more minute, guys. 60 seconds. You can count that down in your mind to calm down, maybe. Buy a few pink wards, set up the map, get the Baron, get the soul, clean it out. Should be very easy, very textbook style. Instead, they wanted to have a little bit of fun, which is dangerous into GAM. I feel like you shouldn't do that too often. But this time it succeeded. 10k gold lead and 3 dragons definitely helped. So this game is now more than over. It's more than a 10k gold lead. Objectives are spawning now. There's absolutely no vision for GAM, so they have to face check into them. This might just be the last Hail Mary engage for GAM very soon.
We'll have to find out. PhD continues to clear waves. This rise is getting
16.
scary. He's level 16, so he'll be
Can he
throwing
one-shot?
some big overloads. Zin goes in. This is a fight in the corridor. PhD is approaching from the right. Can GAM get anything done? It doesn't look like it. And look at all the CC. Look at all the damage. Slay is the second one to be detonated. Vit is charging forward. He gets the bear. It's once again just Levi and Easy Love. They're even using a TP to get the speed boost to try and find Levi. They still can't. No, I tell a lie. They absolutely can.
Okay, yeah, as we expected. Just the engage for GAM. They had to face check. There's nothing they can do against that. It's Baron, so you kind of have to contest. If you give a Baron, you give up your base. But it was very likely that OPG would also just very easily win the fight, which they are able to do. So now the Baron, now PhD is tanky enough. There should be no problem either, because Rice annihilates Baron. There we go, Baron into Soul.
Yeah, I was about to say, they can even go down to the Drake right after. Oh, boy. OPG taking us to a game 3. You love to see it.
Yeah, and this is something I really enjoyed in the first week already. Even the projected weaker teams are able to play out games when they are ahead. And that's a very good sign for League, in my opinion. If your best teams always win just because they will choke out the opponents and opponents will make mistakes in the late game, even if they get ahead, your teams can't really grow, right? But now GAM is challenged. GAM lost the early game, they lost the mid game fights, and now they can't do anything anymore because OPG from ahead knows what to do. They are clean in their execution, they are assertive, they can even commit some mistakes if they want to because they are tanking gold ahead. Now they have Soul as well. So just looking great. OPG knowing how to close games, and this should give us a game 3 where, I mean, GAM is under pressure now. GAM has to win the next one or they fall down 1 and 2.
Yeah, absolutely. This is a very important series for both teams. If OPG can win the game 3, you have to start considering them a serious threat.
PhD damage.
Damage from PhD. Infernal Soul Rise, who's level 16. That's just not fair. Slay,
oh my.
Gets cold. Taken out like a pack of feral kangaroos. And the Nexus towers go down. And it is with a final bit of a fight. OPG goes in and they take out the Nexus and bring us to a game 3.
𝗀𝗃𝗃𝗃 2. Can you believe that? OPG has the 21 and GAM has the 2. So times have changed. GAM is not the unbeatable team they were in the last regular season. They've only lost 2 games in the first 2 weeks when they only lost 5 games over the whole course of the season last regular split. So games, of course.
Not matches. Just to point out, we mean games. They only lost 5 games last regular split. They've already lost 2.
Ridiculous. Wow.
So,
I'm impressed with OPG. But Vinnie, what are your thoughts after this second game?
Well, my fantasy team is sad because I have Easy Love and Kaya, and they did not have great performances. But yeah, OPG definitely showing up, matching player for player, and taking it to where the draft discrepancies are in the bot lane. Sure, you can say they made a mistake, but if a more even bot lane was on the side of GAM, it probably wouldn't have fed over quite so many kills. And once they got that lead, they knew how to play around the points of power and weakness. They managed to make Volibear a non-factor, even though it looked like he might be able to get going. But
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, he looked strong in the first 15 minutes, right? But then nothing happened.
Yeah.
So, MVP, boys. Where are we going?
All these team performances where no one really stands out, it's so hard to say.
I think it's got to go to one of 2 people, in my opinion.
I'm leaning towards Zin.
It's got to be Vit or Vin.
I was leaning towards Zin, actually.
You had a good game.
I think a lot of
it,
Vit did a lot with it, but he was very well set up by Zin, especially early on, and then
absolutely
kind of just ran with his gold lead. So
I kind of still want to
any
give
of
it to
those
Vit.
3 are fine for me, but yeah.
All right, let's give it to Vit. I agree with that. I think Vit had a very, very good performance, and I doubted him a little bit, so I'm happy to give it to him.
Yep, that's a good call. I like that.
And well, we will be back in not too long. We're going to take a little bit of a break, reset, get a drink, make sure we are strapped in and ready for Game 3 because OPG may well take a series off GAM. We'll find out very soon. Don't go anywhere.
Thanks.
Welcome back, everybody. We've got Game 3 of GAM taking on OPG. It was a dominant affair in Game 2. OPG was never in doubt. But boys, what do you think is going to be our Game 3? And who's going to walk away a winner?
I think it's still going to be GAM because we have the blue side. They have the blue side. Oh no, they are on red side this time. And red side seems to be winning. But I don't know, maybe we see. And if we go for another first pick karma, PSG doesn't want to play it, apparently. So
It's true. Karma has lost 2 games so far. So
yeah. I'm happy.
That's a
I
good
like
call.
karma.
Well, I feel like she should be played support more often. I like her
Yeah.
support. I actually feel like you win
Yeah,
every lane with Karma support. Karma Ezreal is a super strong lane. But yeah, so far she hasn't looked too impressive. I also feel like Genza didn't really do anything, so I hope Dia1 is back in. See? We have to take into consideration that this was not Gama's best lineup, so if they really want to win this one, they probably put Dia1 back in. So
I think it was a deliberate thing, though, bringing in Genza to play Karma.
absolutely.
They knew they were on the right side. Production, your mouse is on screen. Anyway, moving on. Don't worry. Continue, boys. Continue doing your analysis. Sorry to.
So yeah, I feel like it's very hard to call. Once again, we saw one game where GAM dominated in micro. Then we saw one game where 𝗀𝗍𝗺 just looked like the better team in terms of coordination and just overall team fighting. So how can you call the next one? I know you like to go with the game with a team that won game 2 because of the mental advantage every day. So maybe it's just OPG again.
Not always. I think
Not always. Okay, fair
I
enough.
do think there's actually a fair. I'm still actually predicting GAM to win this one.
Yeah, Dia is back in, by the way.
Yeah, with Dia back in, I also don't think their bot lane does that again. That was not what their bot lane does. That was weird. I think they will be more aware of the possibility of the Lucian going bot. Because I think when that was picked, they assumed it was mid lane. They're now aware of the possibility of like a proper kill lane bot, and they'll play more respectfully of it. I think OPG's in with a good shot. They're in with a red hot go, but I'm still riding the GAM train.
Yeah, I think we're not probably won't see as quite a big a mistake as picking the Braum into that bot lane. Because I mean, Braum Ezreal can be a fine bot lane. It's a pretty good bot lane. Not into that because Braum doesn't provide anything into that really. But
yeah, I feel like
I know
you definitely
Yulwei
give
upset,
up.
but I like Braum. I know a lot of good ways about Braum. I like him.
Yeah, I actually don't mind Braum into Leona. I feel like he's a very good neutralizer. But I think that was just misexecution on OPG's side. I actually don't mind to see the same bot lanes. GAM, of course, yeah. I don't actually mind to see the same bot lane champs against each other again. Because if you don't overextend for the first kill there, if you just win the trade, as they did with the Braum, they played Braum correctly. If you just back off, you actually have a good advantage in lane. So there shouldn't be that much of a problem to just adjust and play the lane better. What do you have to say?
Sorry, we had to start working out a little bit of tech issues. Our feed is lagging just a touch. We're just trying to sort that out. I apologize, everyone. You're seeing things pop up on the stream. Blame me. It's actually not production's fault. It's my fault. But we are seeing the bands. Wukong will not be seeing play this time. But the Moon Boy is available.
Ooh,
and
finally.
Non-Karma first pick. Yes, we are.
And
Man,
that's because GAM banned Lucian.
Yeah. And I missed Moon Boy in the first 2 games. I don't even know what he does anymore. He needs to remind me of his power.
All right, well, we don't have time to talk about everything Aphelios does. We need a couple hours. But it is answered by the Ezreal, firing back. It is the stock standard. Aphelios versus Ezreal. Are we finally going to see a unity?
Take 2,544. Yeah.
I can, in theory, I don't mind the Karma pick if you're going to flex it, but I don't think GAM is going to flex it. which means they've just given away a free almost a free counter pick to the mid lane. And with that Nautilus lock in, maybe you don't want to take the cover down.
I feel like 𝗬𝗂𝗏 stomps Lucian, Aphelios, Nautilus if they don't fall, if they don't get hit by too many grabs. 𝗬𝗂𝗏 outranges both champs so hard. This bot lane should hard win for GAM, in my opinion.
I mean, if you
𝗬𝗂𝗏
play it right, but if a hook lands and
𝗂𝗏 is not that
Aphelios
easy
has
to kill.
Graviton,
Okay, fair enough. But 𝗂𝗏 has shield, she has her self-heal. It's actually not that easy to kill 𝗂𝗏. It's not Nami or Sona, where if the grab lands, you're just dead. 𝗂𝗏 is a little tankier, and she can dish out a lot of damage in return too, so you can actually turn on the Aphelios or the Nautilus. I would really like to see this being bot side in terms of draft, just 𝗬𝗂𝗏 bot lane and Jace once against for DR1.
I
I
would
think
also like to
DR1
see
has
it
only
towards
played
the-
Jace.
but
Yeah.
But there is the potential for a full-on poke comp right now with if you go Karma mid, because that is poke in all three carry positions coming out. Well, carry
That's fair.
positions.
I want to
then-
point out the Zoe ban here, because Zoe ban is crucial into PHT. The composition already looks like the composition from week 1, where they played Zoe, Nautilus, and Lee Sin in 2 games, in 1 game, I don't remember, but definitely a lot of single target CC. So banning out the Zoe is a good read for GAM, and now 𝗬𝗂𝗏 have to come out with different CC mid laner, because I don't feel like they want to go for another ADC in the mid lane. Hopefully not.
Hopefully not. But it is PHT. You never know, we could see Tristana.
Bane.
PHT's fine.
You see their Exile lock-in, which has a couple of good interactions in a poke comp. You can knock out Banshee's Veils with your Prey Seeker and then go in for the execute yourself. And that's also with an Orianna, so we're going full teamfight wombo combo.
He does play it. He plays the Orianna.
That's surprising. Why didn't he play it earlier? Weird.
Because Lucian
Well, that's
wasn't
good to see.
banned.
That is good to see. I actually like 𝗬𝗂𝗏 has been building. Range might be a little bit of a problem, and I don't like this Aatrox. Now range is a really big problem into Karma Ezreal.
Yeah, because with the ability to, with the potential for that Jace to go top, you've kind of just given up that top lane pressure entirely. I mean, the Braum pick is there, but you could have picked Dawn quite happily, I reckon.
It's not a Tristana. That's unfortunate. So we will see Silas most likely
But we could
in...
get Silas, I think, would be top.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
absolutely.
think so too. Maybe not? Who knows? 𝗬𝗏𝗏 and DR1 are both very good Jace players, so seeing 𝗬𝗏𝗏 on the Jace...
Just based on that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
matchup might be a
mid
little bit
seems
more
fine.
favorable.
It seems to me. And we are actually finally going to see Akama in the support position.
Big fan of that.
Very nice.
So what do you think of the
This-
conference? How have they put themselves together? We'll start with OPG. Vinny, what's your take on this one? Have they layered themselves well together? Do they all work with each other?
Yeah, everything works together. It makes them quite a nice wombo comp. I don't like the Aatrox pick in terms of a matchup thing, but compositionally it works well. Meanwhile, on the side of GAM, Silas, I think there were better choices, because I don't think Silas really fits into the comp. It seems quite kind of out of place, but you can use it as a sort of way to finish off after the poke has come through from the other three, from the Karma, Ezreal, and Jace. That's his name. So I sort of see it as a dive buddy for Levi, but overall, I think it's kind of a weird pick.
Yeah, I agree. I feel like if you ignore players, you just pick Azir here and outrange the enemy backline and just win through team fights where the enemy never can get to you. But this composition suddenly took a very strange turn for GAM, where they are now very much focused on early game skirmishing around 𝘲𝗔, around Jace, and Rek'Sai's power into Lee Sin as well. So top side is skirmish heavy, bot side is probably weak side bot lane with a lot of pressure still. So it's not actually a defensive weak side, but more of a pushing weak side where you just try to dance around ganks and put pressure on the map while not receiving any jungle attention. It's a very risky composition for GAM.
Yeah.
So, Vinnie,
Final.
sorry, I was a little bit distracted. Vinnie, give your final thoughts and get out of here. What do you think? Who's going to win?
I think I'm going to go with my initial thoughts and say GAM take the series.
Okay, fair enough. Vinnie thinks GAM will win. We'll have to find out if he's right or if OPG will get the upset. We'll find out very soon. Well, maybe not very soon, but we will find out this game as we get into it.
What a composition for GAM. This is very micro heavy, very skirmish heavy, and this should make for a very exciting game 3, where they go for plays over and over again, go for outplays and individual level on the 2v2, on the 3v3 and top side. So let's hope for a lot of action. OPG doesn't really want the action to happen too early. They want to be clumped up as 5 and then have action happen with Orianna hitting a nice shockwave from... She has 3 potential ball carriers. It's a very good Orianna game. Also a lot of Neo.
Xin going in early, abusing that aftershock. Does have the Aphelios with him. So let's talk for a sec about Aphelios. We haven't seen him yet this series. This is, of course, the last patch, really, of Aphelios' dominance, as he is going from 200 years to 2 years next patch. He's getting a car lead, getting Olafed. So, how do you think Vit can navigate this game in this short-range comp?
Yeah, that's a very good question, and actually not the greatest composition for Aphelios. Because Aphelios wants enemy team to run at him, so he can place his turrets, profit from all his stationary weapons, and get all the damage in. He's not great at chasing, especially when he does not hit his Moonlight Vigil. So I actually feel like he's super happy with 𝘲𝗔 being the last pick. If this was an Azir, Aphelios would be miserable, and this would be a very hard game to play, but now it's a diver, so Aphelios might be a little bit more happy with 2 diving champs at least, trying to go for him. So,
got some ridiculous stats there on screen. 71% win rate, 7.14 KDA from week 1. Definitely some Luna enthusiasts.
Yeah, and then considering he had minus 900 gold individually, that is actually very interesting. So Aphelios and VCS fall behind on average. He is on OPG against GAM, so this average will probably continue, but there...
As oh no, speaking of Aphelios, he will be the first one to go down, and it's GAM's bot lane showing that last game was just an aberration. What are we looking at? Can we see the support that's going low? Oh boy, Easy Love gets first blood. Down goes Vit, making those stats look a little bit worse for Aphelios.
So, nice 2v2. I want to see how this started. They have heal and exhaust used for GAM, but no flash. Well, all 4 summoners are used for OPG's bot lane. I think OPG just overestimated their damage into Karma and Ezreal. Karma and Ezreal super strong in the 2v2. And then also very good pathing from Levi. He was able to outrun DK in the river to arrive first. DK had to turn away, even though he wanted to counter gank the early aggression. So I hope we get to see how this all started in the bot lane 2v2, because we jumped in when the play basically already ended. So
yeah,
early kill for Ezreal. This will now be horrible to trade into because he has Sheen. But let's look at this. Xin lets the grab, and now Karma is tankier than expected. Exhaust comes in as well, and yeah, that's just too much committed to the Karma.
It was also Raw, they overestimated their damage.
Yep, indeed. So this is what I was talking about in Champion Select. Karma is not actually that squishy compared to other enchanting supports. She has a lot going for her. She's it's surprisingly tanky in terms of base stats, but then also as a shield. She can heal herself. She had exhaust and the heal for Easy Love still available too. So definitely an overcommitment. They anticipated jungle help from DK, so not purely on the bot lane. They definitely planned for this one, but then they had no track of Levi. Can DK turn? Oh, look at this super smart ward. Who placed this ward? Give that
Ooh,
man a medal.
wow.
Oh,
Yes, absolutely. I've just noticed the ward you're talking about. Just at the opening, DK is absolutely an open book at the moment. The tether from Slay. Levi is close, so we could have a bit of a rockin' 3v3, but I think everyone will back off now as the lane shoves in for OPG.
yep. But in the meantime, top lane, 𝗀𝗃𝗏 gets a good trade onto Vin. Can he force him out of lane to deny this minion wave? I don't think so. Vin should be fine, collecting all the minions here.
And in the mid lane,
no.
ooh, no. Get your tacos, your burritos, because we've
No
got
time,
some
no time.
lane, but it doesn't matter because Vit is going down again. Here come the teleports. Vin's arrived. They want to try and find something out of this, and they can't yet. No, Vin will manage to get one. The wings are spread, but he can't get onto Levi. It's a double kill for 𝗎𝗍𝗏. And the man started off 0-3 last game. He's flip-flopping it around to 3-0.
Start for 𝗎𝗍𝗏, and they turn around the big criticism from the second game where they basically entered away the game very early on in the bot lane. But this time around, GAM definitely know how to play this 2v2. Slay looks more comfortable with the trade patterns here on the more an active support champ. But how does it start? Levi just with a good gank and flash W from Slayer. He knows there's no flash available on Vit, so very easy to see. Landing once again, good start. Vin almost turns this around because he's level 6, super strong Aatrox, but he doesn't get the last Q, so that's a little bit unfortunate. 1 kill over to him, but 2 kills to 𝗎𝗍𝗏, and now 𝗎𝗍𝗏 is sitting on. Look at the items and compare the items to Vit's items. They can't take trades. They just can't, straight up can't take any trades in the bot lane anymore. So. Feel like you just play weak side now for OPG's bot lane, where you just leave them on an island, pray that they can collect as many minions as possible and get the 𝗀𝗃𝗏 to cash in as soon as possible. But playing more about bot lane is probably going to get worse and worse for OPG because GAM's bot lane is so much stronger.
Yeah, you can say that again. They are much, much stronger, and this is only going to make that range disparity we were talking about even worse. OPG have a very short-range comp against an Ezreal and the Jace, and now the Ezreal has 3 kills. There's a bit of doom on the horizon, and OPG is going to have to do a lot to stave off this impending cataclysm.
And look at how aggressively 𝗎𝗍𝗏 can position in lane now. He doesn't care about Nautilus grabs anymore. Because even if Nautilus grabs him, he can just out-trade the Nautilus very easily. Sustain back up with his heal, and of course the Slay also coming in and shielding him. So, can Levi steal this away? He doesn't know that DK's here, but still, the smite.
Absolutely.
Nicely done.
And this is a level 6 Rek'Sai to a level 5 Lee Sin. They don't want to take this fight. So that is going to be a Sand Shark just surfing away with the stolen red buff.
Absolutely. So let's look at the map and look at all the vision GAM has already invested. No, is there top lane? This shouldn't amount to much.
With the accelerated shock blast missing, Vin will manage to get away, but it's an Aatrox ult forced. Traded, of course. No ult for Jace, so he doesn't lose any. PhD in some trouble. The chains land, and the revolution succeeds in the mid lane.
Done. Another good gank for Levi. He's very active on the map. Very nice play so far on this Rek'Sai. And Rek'Sai has been a surprisingly good pick in the VCS, where a lot of our very good junglers have just gone Rek'Sai and dominated the early game, even though everyone is saying jungle meta is right now focused on farming. We see Lee Sin against Rek'Sai this game, and Levi is getting the better of the Lee Sin for sure.
Yeah, you can say that again. Levi has been running it around, of course. He knows a lot about playing the Lee Sin. He knows where DK wants to be, and he's a very experienced Rek'Sai player to boot. So overall, the whole map going really, really well for GAM. The only negative is the small CS deficit in the mid lane, which is completely made up for by the assist.
Yeah, and talking about the whole map, well, once again, look at all the wards set up to spot potential ganks and stuff like that. There was a perfect ward for Jace, and now they've corralled Vin, who might just go down very easily.
He just instantly goes
Oh,
down.
the
DK
damage.
gets chunked. The shockwave lands onto Levi, but he gets the kill anyway. And now PHT is on the run. 𝗀𝗃𝗏 brings down the hammer.
It's a vision masterclass for GAM, and also followed up by great individual mechanics to make the play stick. But it all starts with very good vision setups. Look at all the wards invested in the topside jungle, especially the one where you can spot out the counter dive in the topside brush. And this ward spotted the position of Decay, so GAM had perfect information about all the positioning, and then 𝗀𝗃𝗏 with a smart play where he let Vin overextend into his lane, which was very likely to happen because Vin was 2 levels down, so he had to go for experience. Look at this. 𝗀𝗃𝗏 hit in the brush there, so Vin had no idea where he was. Vin also tanked a lot of damage to take the minions down quicker, and Decay is not a champion at this point. Look at how unbelievably useless he is. PhD.
Yeah, blind minion.
Well, PhD tried to help his teammates, but 2v3, very easy kills for GAM. And now it's 7-2. It's a 3k gold lead. It's looking really strong from GAM, and I'm just blown away by the vision control they've been able to just exert over OPG. Just they read them like very easy to read books. Like, oh. There we go. It's another good play, another plating, and 2 more to 𝗀𝗃𝗏. So this top lane is not now unsalvageable. It's he's very far ahead. As we have another replay. I'm not sure where this is going.
I'm not even sure what happened here. Is apparently OPG made a play, tried to go on to slay. This is just a silly decision. What the hell did you think was going to happen, OPG? Did they manage to turn this around? Oh,
yeah, 200 years happened.
Okay, yep, all right, fine. 200 years, and it's a shutdown for the 𝗀𝗏𝗏. But it's another kill in the top lane for 𝗀𝗃𝗏. A dragon.
And another turret.
But it doesn't matter. A mountain drake and 1 kill for 2 towers and a kill. Ooh, actually,
at least OPG is recognizing the top lane is no-go zone.
And there are too many kills happening during replays. Slay
died.
Yeah,
absolutely too much happening. But yeah, OPG is at least recognizing the top lane is a no-go zone. Oh, do we have another play? Vit and Xin under pressure.
Dia1 steals the Nautilus ult straight onto Vit. He is not getting out of here, and kaboom! Down comes the hammer. And it's actually Silas that gets the kill. And once again, GAM stomps their oppression on this game.
Yes, that was once again a very good play for GAM, where they get all the shutdown on the 𝗀𝗏𝗏s. They just collected 2 kills and got going a little bit, but now double TP from the 2 solo laners. We had a lot of time because, of course, 𝗀𝗃𝗏 just pushed in top lane, and Dia1 also on a reset there, almost. So nicely done. They take the opportunity and extend their gold lead to 6k. This is not very exciting. This is just bullying, honestly, at this point.
Yeah, this is if you see your kids doing this when they're playing League of Legends, do tell someone. But this is how Slay died. He just got caught out of position. Yep. So that was a bit silly by Slay.
Absolutely, especially because they just chose 2 members on the top side.
And we can't stop as now Slay is getting hit up. Once again, he's low. Oh! The shield comes in and he lives. Xin is going to be absolutely shattered. Oh, here is a hook landing, but they're so low. 𝗎𝗎𝗏 goes down, though. And the GAM bot lane, despite the lead, is just making mistakes.
So many misplays on both sides there, honestly. They really wanted to funnel this kill into Vit, which is understandable, but Vit didn't have the damage and the range to get there. He flashed for the last hit, but didn't. But of course, there was another shield for Slay, so he didn't actually get the last hit on Slay. Then on the other side, as you pointed out on cast, of course, 𝗎𝗎𝗏 just a little bit too aggressive, a little bit too antsy. He wanted to show his skills again, and then into 3 members he dove, and probably not the correct decision there. But it's still a 10-4 kill lead. It's still a 6k gold advantage for GAM as well. So it's not that big of a deal. The kill also went over to Lee Sin, so whatever. In the end, it doesn't matter too much.
It's true, but it is worth noting that the GAM bot lane, despite their massive lead, has managed to kind of throw that away a little bit. A lot of this lead now is actually in the top side. Oh, but
Another
here
play.
comes the bot lane again. This is badly timed because in comes the shark. Levi's here, lands the knockup.
Vin is here
buying
now.
time in the alcove. Vin is here, and I think that'll be enough to get the disengage. Easy Love throwing rocks and absolutely chunks Vin out. Dia1's here. Ooh, can he steal a good ult? What can he grab? He just goes in, he's spinning, but a big shockwave out of PHT, and it's all turning around. It's a 2 for 2. And GAM and OPG trade blows, and it's a pause!
What a timing for a pause.
Oh no, the chain's hit.
Yeah, I feel like
Oh no.
PHT didn't believe the chains hit, so I feel like this pause will not last too long. Hopefully, I'm not jinxing it, but
Don't say that.
that was another maybe a little bit too aggressive for GAM. We know they are a very aggressive team, especially from ahead. They just force fights over and over again. Wanted to point out, Vin teleported in there. Normally, when your jungle and ADC and bot lane fights, and the enemy top lane teleports in, you run for the hills, because top lane is usually a little bit stronger than your jungler. But Vin arrived one level down to Levi, and he actually just immediately started running away on his side.
Yeah.
So of course, top lane is a big problem right now for OPG, and even teleporting to help the bot lane is not really helping too much. What really helped OPG in this situation was, of course, the very nice shockwave. So, good job for PHT to at least get 2 kills back. He might still die in the process here.
Looks like buttons are being pressed, but
he's getting ready to get back into the game.
Hopefully, they've got a lot of time to think about how you're going to get away from this Silas PHT.
Who just hit the stun on you, so probably not very likely. Yeah, there we go.
And we go back in, and it is in fact the big cleanup. We went from a 2 for 2 to an ace for OPG.
Wait, what happened top lane?
Can we get a replay? Because something's happened here. Something
𝗖𝗂𝗍 just casually murdered the enemy jungler. Which makes sense. 𝗖𝗂𝗍 is level 12 and DK is level 9, 10? Who knows?
Yeah.
So
I want to know how Vin died. He wasn't the one hit with the chains. We need a replay because we missed a bit there.
I think Levi jumped on him. So Levi was still full HP and used the turret aggro taken by Dia1 to just dive under turret. So
that would make sense. But still, give me a replay.
Hopefully.
And GAM is in an absolutely dominant position. 9k up. All they need to do is close this one out. OPG, do they even have a path back into this one? I guess it's just Aphelios.
It's Orianna, Shockwave. I mean, we've seen one promising one, and if she has 2 more items, somehow, maybe someone gifts her some gold or something, she can actually do something. But yeah, the chances are slim, and he's actually level 9. This is so... TK is so useless. He's 3 levels down to Levi, and they are both playing ganking junglers, of course.
Yeah.
He's not a champion right now. The only thing he can do is appeal for Vid, maybe with his ultimate, but then you have to look at Vid's items. He's only on 2 items as well, while players like 𝗖𝗍𝗍 and Levi
are worth noting
2.5 already.
Levi is level 12 at 17 minutes as 𝗁𝗍𝗍. That is insane.
It is very
He's
impressive.
equal to mid lane. He's ahead of PHT. The enemy team mid laner. This is an insane 𝗁𝗍𝗍.
And the enemy team top laner still as well. It's super impressive. And to be fair, he was a little bit lucky in the early game. I feel like the very first bot lane game, but no time for that. We might have a last stand fight for OPG.
They try and catch him. They dump everything into Levi, and they get the kill and get out. So they use a lot of resources, but they get what they came for. But they can't go onto the dragon.
No, it's way too risky. No, I feel like they're just going to farm it out a little bit more. This was just one good kill to deter the dragon for a little bit, to buy a little bit more time. They also got the shutdown. Sadly, it went over to Aatrox and not to the Aphelios. But at least,
Speaking of Aphelios,
you're in trouble.
He was too far forward, and he goes down. Slay picks up the kill. And I've got to say, I do love watching an Aphelios die.
I really have no idea what he was doing there. There was some silver mentality. I'm on the turret. I can't die. No,
why are you
you in
insulting
fact can
Silver?
die very
What do you mean?
easily.
𝗲𝗏 just gets a little bit of damage onto Vin. He was very pushed in, but doesn't get anything out of the flank as they just put some damage on this inner tower. And GAM, let's see how fast they close it out. This is something to watch for GAM. Obviously, this game is pretty over. They're 8K up at 19 minutes. It's pretty donezo. But can they close it out cleanly? It's an important thing to watch if you're a GAM fan. You want them to be closing this one out pretty rapidly without any stupid team fights.
They've always been able to close out pretty quickly. So I feel like this should also reiterate this strength. But let's also take a look at the map. We have advancing vision from GAM. They are trying to get bot side control to get a free dragon. Levi should also just be able to solo this now. Dragon is not really a win condition for them right now. It's 20 minutes in. It's only the second dragon going down. We're actually going to Infernal Rift, by the way. But yeah, Dragon is probably going to be neglected.
Yeah,
Infernal Rift.
It's way too far. It's way too far away. If they honestly, if GAM picks up the Infernal Soul, even if they end up winning the game, I actually think that's a negative.
Definitely,
I think that's a screw up. If they are still in this game by the time Infernal Soul is available, they've actually just closed out too slowly. This game should end.
Yeah, absolutely.
In the next 6 minutes, probably.
Look at all the champions on GAM's side. You have the best 2-item power spike champ in the game, Ezreal. You have a super strong 2-item power spike champ in Sylas. And another one who scales with every single item, because every single item is a power spike, Jace. It's the perfect time to strike it now. Look at all the items compared to no items whatsoever on OPG. This is, wow.
The accelerated shot blast and the true shot barrage send Vit packing as the Moonlight Vigil is stolen, but everyone manages to get away from 𝗲𝗏. No return 200 years. As
the reaction for OPG is just too slow. So Vin wanted to level a little bit more and went to the bot lane to push on the bot lane. But GAM just took the opportunity to just group this 5. Sometimes A-rimming can be good, especially when you're not quite strong enough to play around Baron, because you have a very squishy team composition, but you have unbelievably strong poke and R and power spikes in terms of items. Just go for the 5v5. Pressure another inhibitor. Now they have mid lane pressure forever. They can now move into top and bot lane and prepare the Baron to close out the game. And they might actually not rely on Baron. They have very good poke and siege regardless. Top lane turret is actually down already. 𝗀𝗃𝗃𝗃 putting in some work on the side lane.
Yeah, he got us. When we had that pause, when we came back, there was the actual ace because he had just killed DK. He just took the tower. Couldn't get the inhib at the time, or perhaps chose not to. Oh boy, it's like we're watching 𝗀𝗃𝗄𝗏. The second inhib being cracked open, and GAM could just pull back, take a reset, maybe grab Baron just to really make it easy, but I don't think they need it.
I really like to watch comps that don't rely on Baron. It's very good to see teams not be overly reliant on Baron. This poke composition really does not need Baron. It's of course a nice pad of stats. So you take it if you can, and now it's absolutely free. But you don't need it to force inhibitors. So I feel like we have seen too few compositions that don't rely on Baron. And it's a nice, refreshing sight here in the VCS.
Yeah, absolutely it is. This is very good to see. They will take it. Why not? there was no bot lane set up. At that point, there was nothing else to really do. You may as well get the empowered minions. Take the free reset. Take the free reset. And then I think we might be seeing the last stand of OPG. It's got to be said, though, they took GAM to 3, and they looked close at times. So that's a good sign for OPG. Definitely not all doom and gloom for the boys of Optimus.
Yeah, and on the flip side, I still don't know what to make of GAM. They are. It's so hard to get a read because the games they lose, they look very bad. But the games they win, they look super dominant. So it's very hard to assess their strength. I feel like So far, they've won through individual mechanics and being the better players more than actually being a good team. So if they play against better opponents, this might be a struggle. Now, they have to play Percent tomorrow, and maybe Percent is a little bit better than OPG. Who knows? We'll get to see another. We'll get another look at them in just about an hour, or maybe even only 30 minutes. Who knows?
Should be about 30 minutes. But regardless,
but no.
let's see how GAM close this one out.
Will we actually
at the
see a
moment, it
last
looks-
stand is the question. Will the poke just be overwhelming and
I mean, it
OPG
might.
can't even take a fight?
They'll try and take a fight. Whether or not
Yeah.
it's a real last stand, that's a good question. Might be a last.
This is one of those games where it might just be roll over and die because you just can't take the fight into all the poke. 2 inhibitors down already. There's another Baron wave approaching, while 𝗲𝗏 is being annoying on the other side. They don't need him here. They can win 4v5 as well. So I like this from 𝗲𝗏. Just buffing up the minions to apply even more pressure. Now it's the 3rd inhibitor falling. When are you going to fight if not for the 3rd inhibitor? Probably not at all. So yeah.
Towers is all. They're just going to try and take a miracle fight under the 2 Nexus towers. Even if they win that fight, you've got to win about 5 or 6 more of them, and then maybe you can come back.
Indeed.
But GAM, just group up. They get a minion wave, and I believe we will be seeing the conclusion of the game. But let's find out. As the poke rains
Another
in.
poke. More poke damage.
Oh, there
there's
is
the
the hook.
engage.
We're going into Shockwave, and bang, Slay immediately blows up. But he's not the important target. Levi gets kicked out, and in the backline, 𝗲𝗏 is carving them up. He goes gold. He'll come back out, try and dash away. 𝗲𝗃 goes in. He gets one. He's looking for another one. Vit playing around the fountain, but the Nexus is exposed. And GAM will win game 3 and take the victory over OPG in dominant fashion.
Last game. This time around, they didn't take it back and forth like against EVOS, where they stomped one, lost one in the stomp. This time, they just stomped it back in the game 3. And GAM went ahead early. Looks like the most dangerous team in the VCS. Went behind, maybe not so much.
Not so much is definitely the call. So, Vinny, welcome back.
Yeah.
What were your impressions of game 3?
That was really, really clean from the side of GAM, especially the way they played around the Jace in the top lane. And I don't know. I felt like it really did feel like I'm not sure how or where 𝗖𝗄𝗃 and Levi got all those kills. If I really sort of looked away for a second and then just looked back, I was like, he's got 4 kills.
Oh,
When did that? Did I just disassociate for 20 minutes? I don't know. He just had so many kills.
Yeah, he popped off in the top lane.
Yeah, so
He was absolutely incredible.
yeah, so those two just smashed the top side. The bot side, they capitalized on a few mistakes from OPG, and from there just took it. They went running. They ran it. They ran well away with that game.
absolutely. Absolutely. So, we have to pick an MVP for game 3. Individual just for that game. Is it 𝗖𝗄𝗃? He popped off?
Levi had
or
an incredible
𝗖𝗄𝗃?
game too. It's one of the two. Where you vote's going. I'm fine with either, honestly.
All right, Vinny, you're the call. I'm putting it on you. Levi or 𝗖𝗄𝗃?
I'm gonna go with 𝗖𝗄𝗃.
All right,
That's fair.
trust your gut. Both
Yeah.
were correct. They were both right. It was hard to call
Yeah.
between the two of them.
Absolutely.
So we'll give
yeah.
MVP for game 3 to 𝗖𝗄𝗃. And we are also giving 𝗖𝗄𝗃 our player of the series. The dude dominated from the top lane. What an absolute performer. And I love watching 𝗖𝗄𝗃 succeed. He's probably he's one of my favorite players in the VCS. I love watching this guy go.
And I feel like he has kicked up to a higher gear this summer split. He's not looking like barely the best top lane. He is looking head and shoulders above everyone else in top lane. He has been incredible in both their series.
What?
So
He played a bear.
Everyone's so
Played a bear. That was weak. And look, I'll workshop that one. It's all right. We all can't.
I missed that story.
I'm gonna burn down the workshop that's in. 'Cause-
Anyway,
Alright.
sorry. You continue. 𝗖𝗄𝗃 has looked very, very good. GAM do get another series win, and they are righting the ship after a very weird week one against EBOS.
Oh yeah.
They look much better this time, but they're still a very hard team to read. Things we're going to have to talk about and think about. As
Even though
we
they
look-
gave up 2 games, they are still 2-0 in series, so everything going okay for them. It's the start of the season, and they are starting off with two wins, as opposed
Yeah.
to some of the other favorites that started off with 2 losses. So definitely still one of the front runners for the title so far.
Both of
absolutely.
the other 2 favorites.
Yep.
Yeah. Oof.
Yeah, it's a tricky one. But we'll be back in a little bit. Thank you for joining us, guys. We'll be back in a bit for the second series. It is a very interesting one for sure, so don't go anywhere. Once again, my name is Everyday. With me have been the big brains of Yulwei and Vinnie. I love having you here, guys, every time, and I realized I used the wrong hand. They're over here. It's very tricky. It's mirrored. But regardless, you guys take the cast from my measly 100 IQ up to the several thousand we have with both of you. So we'll be back. We don't have a timer right yet, but there will be one on screen once we have one. Shouldn't be too long. Don't go anywhere, guys. Do follow the stream. Do scroll down below. There is a Discord community. You should join it. We can talk about the games, talk about the stream, things you like, things you don't. You can call me a nerd to my face, and I'll cry. But regardless, you should definitely click on that link. I will. I have done it before. So we'll see you soon. Don't go anywhere, guys. The fuck are we